guess he struck him out. We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
All right, we are off and rolling on a Tuesday. Why can't every week have a 3-day weekend?
I agree.
Well, with all the PTO I have, I can actually my wishes can come true at the click of a button.
When you going to take some vacation, man?
I always tell you, and you know this, every week, I'm going to start taking some time off coming up, and I never do.
Man,
never
you know, like these vacation days don't roll over to 2022. It's kind of a use it or
I'll
lose
just take
it
November, December off. There's nothing going on in the months of November, December. That's our downtime, right?
Right,
Not
right.
mistaken.
Definitely.
How was your 4th?
Oh man, it was good, man. It was good. I went to a graduation party, hung out there. Obviously watched the fireworks, ate too much food. You know, the usual.
Yeah, I didn't. That whole diet working out thing, I haven't worked out in 3 days. I have eaten like the old Kinner, no, it's not good. Like I feel like crap right now. Like I cannot wait to get off work so I can head to the gym. Like before that's just how I went. Now I hate when I haven't gone to work out and I've eaten like crap for 3 days. I feel sluggish today, but that's what this old coffee right here is for.
Coffee. Go walk in this heat, you'll sweat it right out.
Where'd you watch the fireworks at?
The radio station.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. My bad. That was a reminder right there that I did not work this weekend.
Window behind us.
Yeah, my goodness.
Just open up the blinds and just watch the fireworks from here. You know, that's what I did on the 4th. I was at work.
I forgot for the old Fairfield one, right?
No, Hooper did that one. That was Saturday where I was actually off, but on the actual 4th, which was Americana, their fireworks from Centerville, I was here at the station. So I was able to watch part of it from the front of the building, and then from the back of the building, I was able to watch the Kettering fireworks. So got best of both worlds. And if I played my cards right, I could have saw Moraines if I'd have went outside, but I was too lazy.
Well, so, and I forgot to, I watched the fireworks on the 3rd. Not on the 4th. I don't even know what I did on the 4th. When was the 4th? Yesterday
Sunday.
Was the 5th. I can't remember what I did Sunday. It was a long weekend. But so I was in Grand Lake, St. Mary's. We were boating out there, and so we watched the fireworks on the lake. I have to say, I know I didn't stay hanging around in Dayton for fireworks this weekend, and they kicked ass with their fireworks. I'm not gonna lie, it was the best firework display I've seen for considering it's just Saline, Ohio. Mm-hmm. They really kicked ass with their fireworks. So I found out they did about a 20-minute fireworks show, and I found out that I was like, these fireworks actually there's some fireworks you see that you could tell they just went to the, one of the little, the little pop-up shops on the side of the road and grabbed as many, which, by the way, do your thing, whatever. But they said it's $1,000 a minute.
Wow.
For fireworks. So we sat on the boat, watched the fireworks. Actually kind of cold, and there you go. Actually, it was. I will make sure I say this. And they had the Moose, they had the Eagles. Like they had a bunch of businesses who each donated a couple thousand. So it was pretty cool. They did a very good job. But yeah, that was a very. I need to go to Nashville one year. Have you seen that? Nashville is like the best firework display. Like I guess in the country is what they say on 4th of July. It's the biggest fireworks show out there. A buddy of mine was telling me about it. I looked it up. Yes, I have to get to Nashville for 4th of July one of these years. But anyways, 3 minutes in and. We haven't even talked sports yet. Lots of sport. I mean, there's so much to get into. LeBron James still in the headlines, even though the finals is about to go. I mean, he's overprotective dad mode. We'll talk about that. He literally stopped. So there's a game in Akron over the weekend. His son Bronny was playing. He literally got annoyed with the PA announcer, and he stopped the game in the middle of play to go off on the PA announcer. We'll talk about that coming up around the corner. The Cincinnati Reds, they have had one hell of a run recently. They just swept the Chicago Cubs. They have swept every division opponent already this year, and we're not even at the All-Star break. But can they make a big addition? They're 4 games over 500 in July for the first time since 2014. All right, since 2014, they have never been this far above 500 in quite some time, and yet here they are. Can they make a big addition? Can they add to the story, wink, wink, of the 2021 Reds season? We'll get to that coming up around the corner, but first I want to open up with a little over-under as we kick things off here. Shout out to Shaw. Shaw says on the way back from Norris Lake, he asked how we're doing, so he probably got to see some, well, maybe not Nashville, but Norris Lake's down that way. He got to see a pretty good firework display, I'm sure. So, over, under, Kev Nash brings it to us.
Kev Nash brings you over, under.
All right, Kev, kick us off. Over, under. We are getting things started, I think, yes, in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Is that correct?
Yes, Nathan's hot dog eating contest went down on the 4th of July.
It literally went down. Like the feed went down. You could, no pun intended, you couldn't even watch it. ESPN's feed went out.
Maybe that's not a bad thing. With Joey Chestnut's winning again, he ate a record 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes. So over or under 15 hot dogs Kenner could eat in 10 minutes.
That's great. First of all, under. And I think this is the grossest thing in the world. Like, I we had Mike Golick on the other day, Mike Golick Jr., and by the way, he kicks ass with this stuff, but I will say, I think it's gross. Mm-hmm. I can't even watch it. I get nauseous watching it. I think it's pretty gross, actually. And I hate that you even highlighted this at all. I think it's crap that they give this the coverage that they do. Now, I know ESPN has to hype it up. Like, you don't see Fox Sports or anyone else hyping it up because it's not their little event. It's ESPN's little adopted baby that they have. But I think it's the dumbest thing in the world. And I actually literally almost threw my phone at the TV when I saw that they were putting up Joey Chestnut's face next to Tom Brady saying, this is one of the best. He's one of the greatest winners and champions of. I'm like, are you kidding? Like, this stuff's, I mean, put this stuff on the Ocho. That's how bad it is. I think it's dumb. And the fact that I literally heard multiple shows, even yesterday, is Joey Chestnut the greatest winner in the history of sports? I put him up there with Tom Brady and Michael Jordan. What? That's the dumbest. Like, Kev, this is so stupid. It really is. Like, I can't even believe it. And good for the announcers and good for Golick Jr. and them who actually sit there and actually take it. Like, this is the Nathan's hot dog. Oh, and I love those guys, but good for them. They're, they got to do what you got to do, I guess. But if it was Kenner will hire you full time at ESPN if you do this event every year or stay in Dayton, I will pay Dayton to stay here. That's how stupid I find that hot dog eating contest. But under, I think it's gross. I could eat a hot dog or two, but 15, even trying to eat as many as I can in that time frame, hell no. Sorry for the rant already.
No, that was perfect, and that's exactly what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted when I was writing this. I was like, I wonder how he's going to react to this. I was like, Kenner's going to go on a rant, and you did, and I love it. I'm going to go with the under as well. That's just completely disgusting. I can't reiterate everything that you just said, but, the dipping hot dogs in water, soggy buns, it's just disgusting. But I have a story about it. I and the wife, we went to New York City for our anniversary a couple years ago, and my aunt, she lives in New Jersey, so she came out to meet us in the city and everything like that. Said, hey, let's go to Coney Island. We can go hang out on the beach, and we can ride a couple rides, yada, 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 everything like that. So we get off the train in Coney Island, and they have the big stage where the Nathan's hot dog eating contest is, and they have a big clock up there with the countdown to the next one and everything like that. I was like, wow, that's where they do it at. I was like, so that's where they dip hot dogs in water and eat them and make millions of dollars off of it. Joey Chestnut, I don't know how you do it. I really don't want to know why you do it, or any of those competitive eaters. It's crazy. What do you think is crazier? Him being able to eat that many hot dogs, or the people actually going out there to watch it?
And look, I'll give ESPN this. They've hyped it. I mean, the hype train's real. This is proof that if you just put a lot of attention and hype into something, you can get stupid people to go react to this stuff. It is a prime example. Good for ESPN for propping this up and making it feel like it's a big deal. But I mean, to sit there and try to put it like, oh, it's the Churchill Downs of hot dog eating. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, that's an actual phrase I heard over the weekend. Look, Michael Zwick, shout out to Michael Zwick. He says, this is not a sporting event. It's totally gross, Justin. I agree with you. That's why I told Kev, what the hell? Already ticked me off 10 minutes into the show. I made it a point I wasn't going to give this coverage. I was mad at myself for even asking Mike Golick Jr. about it, but I wanted to be respectful to one of his jobs that he had over the weekend. It's gross. I get nauseous watching it. I'm sorry. It just is. And here I am feeling bad because I had 3 slices of pizza instead of the 2 that I was supposed to eat. And these idiots are down in dogs. I mean, it's gross. 76?
Disgusting.
That's what the hell? I mean, and he's just sitting on the throne for. It's. And by the way, grilled hot dog, steamed hot dog? Like, there's something about like
grilled,
boiled,
grilled.
You boil them?
Grill.
Have you ever had the grill? See, I don't like grilled hot dogs.
I grill them in the wintertime.
I'll take a steamed boiled dog any day of the week.
Spark up the
Just
grill.
Just not in a contest. See, I don't know why I don't like them. And see, Nora's a vegetarian, so she hates when I make them at home. Because I'm in a hurry, I just boil them real quick. Most people find that gross, but she gets so pissed because I'll leave the hot. Yeah, she goes. I know when she goes home for lunch because I'll check my phone and it's all capital letters calling me a name, saying you left the hot dog water in there again, and I'm like, yeah, I did. My bad. So, but no, for me, I don't like grilled hot dogs for whatever reason, but a good boiled dog with some mustard. There you go. And the bun matters.
Yes.
So you have to have a good soft bun. You cannot have when you take a bite and it's flaking off. I mean, my gosh. I mean, the margin for error in a hot dog is pretty slim. A lot has to go right for a dog to be good. And Nora's a vegetarian. I say, you can have a hot dog. It's not even real meat to begin with. I don't even know what the hell it is. But
good processed meat. All right, number 2, the NBA Finals tips off tonight with the Bucks and the Suns. 2-time MVP Giannis
Antetokounmpo
is a game time decision. So over under 6 games played for Giannis in the NBA Finals.
I think that and by the way, he was moved to questionable now. He went from doubtful to questionable. Whatever the gap between doubtful and questionable is, it was enough to sway the line by half a point. It was a 6-point line for the Bucks. I'm sorry, for the Suns, when the news came out that he was now questionable, now all of a sudden it swayed to a 5.5-point line, whatever. So I actually see this Bucks team. This is strange. Something we're going to talk about later. I'm seeing a lot of OBJ crossover here when it comes to Giannis. There are times where the Bucks look like a better team without him on the floor, which is the weirdest thing in the world to say. And again, the matchups matter. I find this matchup to be a little intriguing. And I think that without Giannis, this can go 6. With Giannis, this is a 7-game series. I find this to be a very interesting one right there. So over under 6 games played by Giannis in this series, it's going to have a huge impact on it. I say, I'm going to stick to what I've been saying even last week. I think it's all garbage. I don't think he's playing at all. I think it's a significant injury. And I hope I'm wrong on this because I want to watch this finals and it feel like we're not watching something when I watch something, I don't want to be sitting there saying, oh, what could have been.
Right.
I'd rather watch Giannis against Chris Paul, Booker and Middleton and those type of, even Drew Holiday has been playing great too. So I don't think he plays at all, but But I think that what he might do is very Anthony Davis-esque. Just because he's in the starting lineup or because he comes in for a few minutes, I'm not counting that as playing. I'm going to say under. I think he'll try to play at some point, but I don't think it's going to be him truly playing. I think it's going to be the Anthony Davis, the optics illusion. I tried. I think Anthony Davis knew he didn't stand a chance in hell playing, and I think it's the same thing with Giannis. We'll see. That's why I told you earlier before the show started, I don't play tonight. Don't fight hard to play tonight. Let's see how this game. Maybe the Bucks steal one.
Right.
There's a lot of pressure on the Suns. They haven't been. They were not expected to beat the Lakers. They were not expected to beat the Jazz. They were not expected to beat the Clippers. And yet here they are. This is the first time they've been expected to do anything. And I know that sounds funny, but this is a very young team, even with Chris Paul. When you're playing with house money, sometimes you play. Kind of have an outer body experience. But when you're expected to win, when the pressure's on them, if you're playing Milwaukee without Giannis, you're expected to win. I think it's a different kind of pressure now being in the finals for a young team. So I think that the Bucks might sneak one out tonight. I'm picking the Bucks tonight without Giannis, even if he doesn't play. I'm picking the Bucks tonight. I think they get one. Now you get one more extra day, 2 days off now for Giannis. I just don't think he should rush back for game 1. Let's let this play out a bit. I don't think the Suns are overwhelming favorites in this, even though they are the favorites.
I'm going to go with the push. I'm saying he plays in all 6 games. And it's scary hours for me because so many of my friends have called the Suns in 6. So when everybody and their mom is calling the Suns in 6, it's going the other way. But I'm going to say Giannis, not only he's going to play tonight. I think he's going to go out there and play. I think the smart thing to do would be not to play, to see how this goes. Because if the Bucks actually win this game, you definitely take game 2 off, and then you come back in game 3. I think that would be the right thing to do, is not to play tonight. But I know he is pushing every button in the world to get the okay for him to play tonight. It's the NBA Finals. Like they said, hey man, it's not torn. Let's play ball. Like we saw with Kevin Durant, like he was pushing to play. And the only reason he was clear to play was because he was pushing so hard to play. It's like, look, man, we're down. I got to play now. Like I wanted to play before. If I'd have played before, maybe we wouldn't have been down. So these dudes, especially when it gets to the NBA Finals time, they throw caution to the wind and just go out there and play with reckless abandon and sometimes to their own detriment to try to win that championship. So I'm going to say Giannis plays in 6 games in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, buddy just shot me a note saying you got to elaborate on your OBJ comment. I don't get it. I said I'm seeing an OBJ parallel here where you know damn well how good OBJ is. You know damn well how Giannis is, but sometimes there's some things you can't explain, how you could take the most athletic, best player off the field or off the floor, and somehow, some way, the team almost looks to just play better. The offense for the Browns just seems to flow better without OBJ out there because it's just first man opens, getting the ball type of deal instead of forcing it one way. It's kind of forced with Giannis at times. Giannis, a lot of times, the ball, they try to get it to him because he's their guy. With him being out, Drew Holiday has flourished. All right, Middleton has been more of the Batman, right? Like the Bucks just look comfortable. I'll never say that the Bucks are better off without Giannis, just like I don't think that the Browns, I'll never say that they're better off without OBJ. But it is a weird element when you watch a team perform differently and at a higher level without the star player on the field and on the floor. So that's kind of what I meant by that. But Giannis is a way bigger deal in the NBA than OBJ is in the NFL. So I'm not comparing the two quite as much, but it's the same type of situation. But next up, Kevin.
All right, MLB. After sweeping the Cubs in a 3-game series over the 4th of July weekend and winning their game last night versus Kansas City Royals, your Cincinnati Reds are 44-40, and they have 78 games remaining this season. So over or under 83 wins total for the Reds for the rest of the season.
Going back to April, when was opening day? April 1st. April 1st was opening day. It was a Thursday. And I revealed on the show my predictions for the season. I actually predicted that they would be an 85-win team. Everyone scoffed at that. 85 wins is actually not that good, right? Like, it's good, but it's not. I mean, it's good for being a 500 team who's been rebuilding for the last 10 years. So that's good. But 80, I'm going to take the over, actually, at this point. For one, they have no more West Coast trips, so that's a good thing. They don't have the Padres anymore for the rest of the year. That's a good thing. They have a ton of games left with the Brewers and the Cubs and the Cardinals and the Pirates, and they've actually dominated. Going back to last season, I think they've won over 30 games and only lost about 12 against their division the last I checked. They actually have been kicking the division's ass going back to last season, and they have a lot of games against the division. They've dominated the division in the first half of this season already, sweeping everybody at least once. They've swept the Cardinals, they've swept the Brewers, who are in first place, who have the 4th best record in the National League, and they just swept the Cubs. Took care of business. I'm going to take the over, Kev. I think that right now there's a lot of momentum going in their way. They're only going to get healthier. You got Michael Lorenzen making some rehab starts right now. TJ Antone should be back, and for whatever reason, the additions of Brock and Hembry and some others, along with Amir Garrett finally coming around. This is just a much different team. And, I like to criticize David Bell, but my goodness, if they keep at this pace, I will vote for him as manager of the year because they're doing what. But again, I've never been unfair, no matter how many times people want to paint me as that way. When they lose, I'm critical. When they win, I'll compliment the Bengals this year if they win. Sorry, but I will if they do it. But no, in all seriousness, they're playing. I mean, they look like a playoff team right now, from the way that they are hitting the ball to what they're getting out of their starting pitching to even what they're getting out of their bullpen right now. And it's been Hembry and it's been Bach and it's been Brock. It's been a lot of these guys who have stepped up. These guys are supposed to be why they're losing, and they've actually filled in for Lorenzen and Antone and these guys at a very high level. So I'm pretty impressed with what they're doing. I'm going to take the over, Kev. I think right now they're on the verge of going to being about a 90-win team as long as they keep doing what they're doing.
Oh, man, this is a very tough one for me, man. My MO about the Reds all season has been they're a 500 team. But this current win streak that they're on, they have the Kansas City Royals the rest of the week. The Royals are trash, just like the AL Central is trash. Ask my Cleveland baseball team, who are on a 9-game losing streak, by the way. I'm going to go with the over as well because they're playing some good baseball right now. And I think they'll continue to play good baseball. They'll have ebbs and flows the second half of the season. But right now, you're 4 games over. So you're basically at the halfway point of the season. So I'm going to go with the over as well for the Cincinnati Reds. the rest of the way. I think they're going to get to around like 88 wins.
It's crazy too. And usually I always say the best chance of them making the playoffs is the wild card. I think the wild card's way tougher because the West is so damn good right now. When you look at the fact that the San Francisco Giants and the Dodgers both at 50 wins right now, the Padres have 49 wins, and we know how good the Padres are. So literally, you're going to have 3 teams out of the West make the playoff, and the wild cards and also 2 wild cards in the division winner there. So the best chance the Reds have at making the playoffs is winning the division. And right now, they're actually closer. They're, I think, 4.5 games back of the wild card. They're 6 games back of the division. They have a better chance at catching the division leader than they do the wild card, in my opinion. Right. Just because I like the Padres and the Dodgers roster better. I know what's going on right now with Trevor Bauer is a big deal, but the Dodgers were a World Series team without Trevor Bauer, and they're still a World Series team without him this year. I don't think the loss of Bauer is going to be that big of a deal. I don't think it's going to slow him down any. Having him out there definitely helps, but I don't think his absence is going to hurt the Dodgers, so they do have that going for him. But yeah, playing really good baseball right now.
Absolutely. Number 4, our guys, the Ohio State Buckeyes, got a late addition to their 2021 recruiting class, signing 5-star defensive lineman JT Tuimalunge. Maybe if that's right. Hopefully I pronounce his name right. Probably not. But he is signed to the recruiting class. It's a 5-star defensive lineman. So over or under 3.5 sacks for JTT during his freshman season with the Buckeyes.
Here's a parenting tip out there. Never name your kid something boring. Have you ever, you want to know what ticks me off, Kev? Is every time I want to get excited to talk about a player, I can't pronounce their name. And there are times where I'm like, well, I don't know how to pronounce that, so I'll put that story on the back burner until I can get to learn how to. Have you ever, for instance, Jack Miller is not going to be the starting quarterback for the Buckeyes because that would just be too easy. It's Jack Miller. That would be too easy, right? CJ Stroud's not terrible, but Quinn Ewers. How many times have we butchered that name? If you want your kid to be good athletically, give him something, give him or her something unique, something cool. What's the most boring good athlete out there? Who?
Chris Paul's pretty boring.
Yeah, it is. 2 first names. You know what? I think that's the easiest one right there. Seriously. Alex Caruso's a badass. Caruso's coming. That just sounded. And shout out to Tony, by the way. But anyways, back to my ADD is all over today. Over under 3.5 sacks for Tuimalu. I'll fix it. I promise. We'll figure this out. But the bottom line is
I've been practicing it all day. I've been butchering it all day.
This was a huge gap for Ryan Day, by the way. Mike, this is just getting ridiculous, in a good way. It's unbelievable. Just when you thought that, this is for this coming up season. That's what's nuts about this is we would think that every time they land a big commit, it's for 22. They've good for Ryan Day and then for not quitting. They could use, we have a good enough class. No, they're just nose to the ground. They just continue to fight. They pound the pavement. It's unbelievable. Ryan Day, man, I can't say enough of the job he has done from the recruiting standpoint. Actually, he's done it better. Now, it's because the groundwork that Urban laid, don't get me wrong, but it's your it is your responsibility when taking over a program to take it to that next level. Yes. That's not easy to do because all the pressure in the world should crumble you, and Ryan Day's thriving in it. I can't say enough about him and the coaching staff on top of that. I don't know, Kev. I think that the defensive line, there's no sexy, there's no Chase Young, there's no Nick or Joey Bosa, there's no big name on that defensive line. But there is a lot of talent on that defensive line. We didn't see. Remember Chase Young? We didn't see a lot, but Chase Young was sitting behind Bosa and sitting behind a lot of really good guys. I'm going to take the under, but I think he'll be at about 3 sacks on the season. And this is another one of those examples where I'm praying to the good Lord above that I am wrong because I would love to see this kid wreak havoc right off the bat as a freshman.
You got Tariq Smith. You got Jack Sawyer. You got Zach Harrison. You got Tyler Friday. So those are all dudes that are going to be playing ahead of him for sure. But we're all expecting the Buckeyes to blow people out. Let's be real here. So we're expecting a lot of snaps. And, the rushman package, they like to flip defensive ends to the inside to get that rushman package. I'm going to go with the over. For him, just simply because the Buckeyes are just going to maul people. Let's keep it real, man. That schedule, it ain't murderous.
To be fair, we said the same thing last year. I thought we were going to see a ton of crowd. I thought we were going to see
Rona.
I hope so.
Rona.
I hope so. Indiana's on that schedule. I'm actually pulling for Indiana, not over Ohio State by any means. I'm pulling for Indiana to be a big deal. I think that would be huge for the Big Ten to get some new blood in there.
Yeah,
that's kind of circulating.
Transfer
a little bit.
you, Indiana.
Yeah. So they could have one off night or off week, and that'll be against the Ohio State. So how about that? I'm gonna say under, but you're right. That's a good point, though. If he gets a lot of them second half, opportunities.
Garbage sacks.
So there's that.
Garbage sacks are still sacks in the stat column. Another one for JTT. He also is a basketball player. He's from Washington State and everything like that. So he wants to play basketball for the Buckeyes as well. So over or under one game played for the Buckeye basketball team for JTT.
I don't like this. I just think, good. By the way, when I say I don't like this, I just don't like the idea of him risking getting hurt during basketball. Because let's be real, if he plays basketball, it's not, I don't even think he had some. I think Washington offered him a basketball scholarship as well. And I think that this was used as, I honestly think that they used anything and everything they could to get this kid from the West Coast. You want to play basketball? We'll let you play basketball. And that's what the article says, too. It says that, they'll work out the details with him and his family later. That screams to me, Ohio State's too buttoned up to ever use the phrase, they will work that out later. That means it came down to, all right, these other schools are offering me a basketball scholarship. What are you going to do for me there? That means that they checked off every box except that, and they had no choice. They would hate to say, oh, well, we weren't going to let him play basketball. That's why we lost him, even though I just find it very strange. But this is a huge pickup for them. I'm going to say under. I think overall, I think right now with the name, image, and likeness and the opportunities to make money, I think eventually it might snap into his head that, oh, yeah, maybe I shouldn't risk an injury, risk opportunity there. Like, with the chance now to make the amount of money these kids could have a chance to make, I just don't think that it's in his best interest to risk an injury doing anything else other than prepping for what could be one hell of an NFL career, and he's at the perfect spot to do it. They have a pretty good track record of that. I'm going to take the under. I don't think that he even plays a game for Ohio State, to be honest with you. Ohio State's pretty good.
Right.
It's also kind of a slap in the face to the players. We did this with Tim Tebow, so we'll see if people keep it, the same here. I know how good he is as a football player. He's okay as a basketball player. But those guys on Chris Holtman's staff, that's disrespectful to Chris Holtman saying, well, we just want to use your team as a bargaining chip to get a really good player on football. And Chris Holtman's like, well, you do you. I have a pretty good thing going here. I'm not just going to force this gigantic-ass defensive tackle on into the post just to keep, him on your team, right? So we'll
like
see.
Julius Peppers, though.
That's
Remember
literally
Julius Peppers at North Carolina? Oh, my goodness.
David Shaw, we're on a roll. We're getting along right now. He said Julius Pepper, literally right as you said that was what he just typed. Julius Peppers did this as well. Maybe
I'm going to go with the under because of this simple fact right here. The times that he would be getting on the court would be in those tune-up games and everything like that earlier in the season, your Novembers, your Decembers and everything like that. By the time his football season is over, they'll be in conference play. He's not putting him on the court versus Michigan State, Indiana.
It doesn't make sense.
I'm sorry, bro. He'll practice. He'll show up. He'll be a part of the team for year one, and then he'll realize, hey, man, this is a lot on my plate. I'm on the other side of the country. I'm playing football for a high-powered program like Ohio State with high expectations. Oh, yeah, I got to go to school, too. Basketball just ain't going to be in the cards for me. I'm going to focus on football where my bread is buttered and everything like that. So he'll be on the team. He'll give it a shot. But ultimately, he'll never play in a game. I don't think so. I don't think there'll be, it's the Big Ten, man. Big Ten conference games are always down to the wire. There are a few blowouts in Big Ten basketball, conference basketball. So the blowouts will happen while he's playing football. So I'm going to go with the under as well.
All right. And last but not least, to the NFL we go. Urban Meyer's new toy.
Yeah. The number one pick, Trevor Lawrence, signed his rookie deal worth $36.8 million. So over or under 24 passing TDs for Trevor Lawrence, his rookie season.
I'm going to say the under. Look, Baker Mayfield threw for a lot of touchdowns his rookie season as well, but he also had one of the best offensive lines in football. He also had a very good receiving core. Pretty solid run game as well. That was the Duke Johnson year too. it's not. I mean, they didn't know what they had yet in Nick Chubb. The run game for the Chargers. I'm sorry, for the Jaguars is pretty good. Mm-hmm. That offensive line is not the best, and he doesn't have the best weapons. He has okay weapons. I just think that right now, I talked about this with Zach Taylor last year about why it was so important. Like, I put a lot of blame on him for the injury to Joe Burrow, and I know that sounds crazy because everyone's like, well, he's not out there blocking. He's not out there blocking, but he's the one calling the plays, and he was the one dropping Joe Burrow back 40 almost 40 times a game. You may not be able to physically go out there and protect your quarterback from the bad offensive line, but you could strategically protect him from the offensive line. And I thought that they relied too much on Burrow's arm as a rookie. They dropped him back too many times, knowing how bad that line was. They were basically making him vulnerable to getting hurt. I think Urban Meyer knows what he's doing and is not going to do the same thing to Trevor Lawrence. So I think he's capable of it, but I think with that offensive line not being as good as what Baker had his rookie season, it's definitely not as good as what the Chargers. The Chargers were pretty bad, but again, schematically they moved him around. They didn't just keep him standing in that pocket. So I think because they have such a good coach and because they have a good solid run game, depth at running back, I think they're just going to rely on the run game. They're going to allow him to kind of slowly get his feet wet the way the Browns did with Baker last year. I don't see him being this big touchdown guy right off the bat. I think he'll get better as the season goes on, but I think Urban's too smart to drop him back 40 times a game like the Bengals did with Burrow with the bad offensive line. I just don't see an actual good head coach in Urban Meyer doing something like that. So there you go.
Over. I'm going with the over.
Okay.
DJ Shark, good wide receiver. Former Bengal Marvin Jones, good receiver. Leviticus, good receiver. So he has some good receivers. Not elite. They're not elite dudes, but they're good receivers. And they got Tim Tebow at tight end. Tim Tebow's going to catch 10 of those touchdowns. I'm joking on that last part, but I am
trust.
But I'm still going with the over for touchdown passes. Look, man, they're going to be down in a lot of games, and this is a passing league. So I feel that he's going to get like 28 to 30 passing touchdowns.
Whew. Yeah. What did Justin Herbert? I mean, Justin Herbert broke Baker's rookie touchdown record. What did he throw for? 31?
I thought it was 33, but
33? Oh man, I can't go with that. If Urban does that to him, that's reckless, just like Zach Taylor was reckless with Burrow, and I will not be in favor of that at all. Now, if the line's okay and can protect him, more power to you. But I just don't see that being the case. But you look at that. So what did he throw?
He threw 31.
31?
31 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. So interceptions, how many interceptions did he throw?
I don't know, because I don't really know what the threshold, like what's the average. I mean, I'll say 8 or 9 in that range.
I'm going to always go with double digits for a rookie quarterback with interceptions. I'm going to say like 12.
If he throws 12 interceptions, he's not throwing 30 touchdowns. What was Herbert's interception number?
10.
See, it wasn't 12. So there we go. And that is over under with Kev Nash. And of course, being off for a few days, I get I ramble a lot more than usual today. So that went a little long, but nonetheless, we covered a lot of good stuff in there. We already looked at it. But yeah, the hot dog eating contest. Give me a break. I was shocked, Kev. Shocked. That ESPN actually made a graphic that put Chestnut's face up there with Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Tom Brady. And stop, man. That is just ridiculous. That's dumb. I mean, come on now. I mean, I literally heard this phrase yet that Joey Chestnut, and I don't know who filled. I'm trying to think of the name of the guy that fills in during Barton Hahn. He filled in for Greeny yesterday. It was for Greeny. Joey Chestnut is the Yukon women's basketball of competitive eating. What? That's so disrespectful. I mean, it's disrespectful to Gino Auriemma and every past Yukon great player that's played. Don't put them in the same conversation as an eating contest. Are you kidding me? All right, coming up, we'll get back to some Reds talk. I'm excited about how the Reds are playing. You should be as well. We're approaching the trade or the All-Star break, and I'm telling you what, last week I felt like, we were about to wrap up baseball season. We're about to turn our attention to Ohio State football, which we will do, and we plan on doing, but now we get to balance it with the Reds, which is a good thing. They just swept the Chicago Cubs. They are 4 games over 500 in the month of July for the first time since 2014. They swept all their division opponents already before the All-Star break. That hasn't been done since 2012. The Reds are onto something. David Bell, who I'm very critical of, is pushing all the right buttons. the scrub players in the bullpen buying time until they get healthy are actually earning their spot. They're earning their spot to stay, and just by naturally getting healthier, the Reds are honestly going to get better in that bullpen, which is a good thing. But what about that lineup, which is one of the best in baseball? They might make a big addition to add to the storied season for the Reds in 2021. We'll talk about that next.
It's the Justin Kidder Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 92. Tonight will be mainly clear, a low around 73. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high near 92. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
What makes the perfect workout? Being able to ride, lift, and stretch in one place with motivating instructors.
Y'all look so good out there, Peloton.
Classes that always work around your busy summer schedule.
Push Peloton, you've got 20 minutes of opportunity on this ride.
Instructor-curated playlists for every mood.
Let's turn it up, come on.
Now what if you had it all? Right at home. The Peloton Bike. Nothing like working out from home. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more.
O'Reilly. Ready for your next road trip? Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts to get everything you need to stay safe while traveling. Visibility on the road is so important and so easy to achieve. Get your windshield streak-free and crystal clear with Blue Magic Glass Cleaner. On sale now, 2 for $5. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
So, how can I promote my new curbside pickup service?
It's possible with Staples Connect.
I need custom floor decals that'll get noticed, not just walked on.
Also possible. Staples Connect can help your business grow with custom printed sales and marketing materials. Now get $20 off signs, banners, or posters when you spend $75 or more. Explore what's new at your local Staples. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. N731 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/signage for details.
O'Reilly. When it's a warm day and your car's AC is blowing hot air, you need some relief. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and talk to our professional parts people about AC Pro refrigerant recharge kits for your vehicle. Buy now and you'll get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate. Keep cool this summer with AC Pro refrigerant at O'Reilly Auto Parts, in store or at O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Now at Menards, save big money in your next painting project with 11% off everything. Get professional results on your next painting job with pro-quality brushes, rollers, and tools from Purdy, the #1 brand preferred by the pros. Menards has the largest selection of Purdy products with over 150 in stock, all 11% off. Good through July 10th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Trade pros. Whether you specialize in service or new construction, Ferguson knows firsthand how much work goes into a long day on the job, which is why we're committed to offering the products and solutions to get every job done right. With over 1,000 locations, an unmatched selection of specialty products, tools, and supplies, our pro pickup and same or next day delivery, you can trust that doing business with Ferguson will be the easiest part of your hard day's work. Visit Ferguson.com to find a counter location near you.
It's time for some straight talk. We've all been there. You have some real work to do, but the free Wi-Fi where you're working isn't going to cut it. It's like leaving the winning runner stranded on third base. Not good. Well, now you can be your own hotspot with Straight Talk's Ultimate Unlimited plan. Get 10 gigs of hotspot data for just $55 a month. All on America's largest, most dependable networks. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Compatible device required. See straighttalk.com.
G'day, mate. As an Australian, I'm a croc expert. Crikey, get him away from me. I mean Crocs, like the footwear. And as a Croc expert, I have to say I like foamies from Skechers bloody better. Because foamies have that stylish, trendy look, plus Skechers' world-famous comfort, all for a price that's down under the competition. Skechers is a comfort technology company, and foamies have comfort innovations your whole family will love. Foamies are ultra-lightweight, water-friendly footwear that are flexible and breathable. Perfect for kicking it by the pool, grilling on the barbie, or comfy enough to go on a walkabout. Plus, only foamies come with fits and features like Arch Fit with podiatrist-certified support, and max cushioning that feels like you're walking on big puffy marshmallows. And foamies are perfect to keep you cool this summer or warm in the winter, which is great because it's actually winter in Australia right now. Good on you, Skechers. So get yourself some machine washable foamies by Skechers and don't get bit by Crocs. He's a mean fella. Find foamies at Skechers.com, a Skechers store, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Don't overpay for glasses. Get 2 pairs and a free exam for just $69.95. That's not just a better deal. It's America's best. Book your exam online today.
Want free Reds tickets? How about a free MLB Network Reds bag? Maybe a Reds bobblehead? Here's an idea. How about we combine them all together and give you a chance to win a free WING Reds prize pack presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Register daily at wingam.com. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
All right, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. If you want to win a Reds Family 4-pack of tickets, all you have to do is head to wingam.com. When you're at the website, whether you're on your phone or on your desktop, laptop, iPad, whatever it is, tablet, click on Win up at the top. Actually, right now it's displayed on the home screen. Boom, right as you type in wingam.com, just click on that, enter your name, and submit your enter your registration, and you'll be in line to win a 4-pack of tickets. Have a chance. So every Friday from now, when's the last Friday in the season? I had this right in front of me. So September 24th will be the last home game of the season. So from now until the end of the season, every Friday, we will be selecting a winner from those who register at wingam.com for you to have a chance to win a Reds Family 4-pack of tickets to a game at Great American Ballpark. Look, this is a big deal right now because the Reds are playing great baseball. And I don't know about you, I had so many friends text me over the week. I've yet to make it to a game. I have to get to. I remember I told you I can't wait. I'm going to get to. I always do that. I'm going to get to a game this week, and then I put it. I'm going to get to. I've yet to make it to a game, but I had so many friends text me over the weekend and say, "Yes, the Cubs are in town, and there's always an energy with the Cubs in town." But I have some friends in Cincinnati that don't miss home games, and they're like, "There's just something different." Yes, this team's not worlds. They don't have a World Series makeup right now. They're playing real well, but he said the energy at the ballpark has just been different. You have the mixture of the fact that, of course, there was no fans allowed at games last year, so people have that itch to get to the ballpark this year, but the team's competitive. They're winning. They're 4 games above 500. They're going at some of the top teams in baseball. They have a chance to win the division. So the energy is just different at Great American Ballpark, and right now you have a chance to win a Reds Family 4-pack. Every Friday we'll select a winner. You can register daily, and this Reds Family 4-pack of ticket giveaway is brought to you by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. So make sure you get to wingam.com right now and register for that opportunity. We're excited about that. So the Reds are done at home for the first half of the season, Kev, as crazy as that is. They're wrapping up this series with the Royals tomorrow at 2:10. So our show will be bumped, but I see them splitting tonight and tomorrow, just because it's hard to predict a back-to-back sweeps, right? It'd be nice if they did. I think they're capable of it. The Royals aren't that good. The Reds are playing very, very good. So the Reds could potentially sweep them. I don't like predicting sweeps. Right. But man, then they have 4 with the Brewers. Then you have 3 with the Brewers coming out. So we have tickets to that Brewers series. We have tickets for the 16th and the 18th that you could win, but you have to head to wingam.com. They have that big series with the Brewers coming out of the All-Star break, which the All-Star game, Kev, is a week from tonight.
Crazy.
I just realized that. Holy crap. Man. A week from tonight's the All-Star game, but a week from this Friday is the big one at Great American Ballpark, that huge series with the Brewers. And if all things go well to close out this Royal series and at the very least split with the Brewers this weekend, that sets up one hell of a matchup coming out of the All-Star break. That matchup, that series coming out of the All-Star break is going to set the tone for the second half of the season. We are usually done with the Reds by now. We've usually buried them, and we're on to just desperately trying to find any Browns and Bengals nuggets and Buckeye. It's pretty cool right now because the Reds are providing us with a lot of fun content to talk about with this team, and that's where I want to pick up with. Justin Kidder, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. The Reds bullpen, Kev, over the last 31 innings since June 25th, as we sit here on July 6th, they have a bullpen ERA of 1.16. That's the worst bullpen in baseball, but they've actually been statistically over the last 2 weeks. I know I'm doing what I hate. I'm shrinking down a little window of stats to try to prove a point here, but statistically, since June 25th, they have been the best bullpen in baseball. It's only a short amount of time, but hey, look at the damage that they did in that time. They're taking care of it. They just swept the Cubs. I already took game 1 against the Royals last night on the road. I anticipate another win here coming up later on tonight, but they've done this without Michael Lorenzen. They've done it without TJ Antone. They've done it while allowing Amir Garrett to get comfortable and transition back into the Amir Garrett that we're used to seeing and watching. The starters have gone deeper into ball games. The run support has definitely been there. Right now, this is as complete of a Reds team as we have seen in quite some time, at least from a production standpoint. We know that bullpen is not just all of a sudden magically the best in baseball. I do anticipate some hiccups still moving forward. Let's say that they blow the lead later on tonight and they lose. That doesn't mean that everything that they've accomplished over the last 2 weeks is fake news or anything. It just means that there's still some flaws there. There are going to be some bumps along the way, but they got to continue to win series and continue to win with their big starters on the mound, of course, and that's going to be key, especially with Sonny Gray back now. But how about this? This is where I will give David Bell credit. David Bell has been responsible for 2 of the bigger turnarounds for the Reds the last 2 seasons. Last year, David Bell did something that I thought should have been done sooner. He benched Joey Votto. Joey Votto was a 10 times different player coming out of that benching. Eugenio Suarez, I mean, we're talking hitting 173. Pitchers around Major League Baseball, pitchers on this roster were hitting better than Eugenio Suarez. David Bell sits him for a few days, comes back, and not only is he a much different looking player with the bat in his hand, he's been playing that third base perfectly. I mean, the arm strength looks back. He just looks confident. And what I love about him, too, this is why I was so ticked at Reds fans booing him last week. His replacement, the guys on the bench, he's visibly there. It's not like, I'm off today. I'm just going to, I'm going to sit in the clubhouse. I'm not even going to be visible. He's out on the rail. He's looking over there. He's cheering on his teammates. His backup. He's over there with his arm around him, kind of talking him up and kind of getting him into it. He's the freaking best teammate in the world, man. I'm a big Suarez fan. That's why I got so defensive of him last year. Again, Suarez can go 0 for tonight. Who knows? I don't think that he's necessarily back. Hopefully he is. But I'll give David Bell credit on this. We have seen him make some tough benchings the last couple of years. I still think he's waited too long to do them. But he's pushed the right buttons. He's pushing the right buttons with his bullpen. Him and Derek Johnson, who I've been critical of this year, they're pushing the right buttons right now. This lineup that is just being led by Jesse Winker and Nick Castellanos. Joey Votto has been fantastic since coming back from the IL. Suarez has been awesome, over that Cubs series coming back after the benching. And you look at the fact that, Jonathan India and Tyler Stevenson, those 2 rookies, those 2 young players, it's the perfect combination of veteran guys like Jesse Winker and Nick Castellanos and Joey Votto mixed with the young bloods like you have, of course, with Jonathan India and Tyler Stevenson. And then Tucker Barnhart's been a great presence there. And Suarez, who's been bad for over a year now, he's looked different. So I'm critical of David Bell, but I have to say that I've been a big fan of his work over the last week and a half. He seems to just, this team's now buying in, and hopefully that's can continue into these final 2 games with the Royals and final 4 again. So what do we have? So there's 6 games remaining. 4-2 over the final 6 to head into the All-Star break would be huge for a team that is right now 44-40. Put them at 48 wins to almost be at 50 wins heading into the All-Star break. That is huge for a team that has just been so bad for almost a decade now.
Are they just playing for him? Are they zoned into him and him having that confidence? Before he was leaving in guys that were still struggling and everything like that. And he finally, put them to the side, let them get a breather and everything like that. Are the guys just, out here playing for their coach? Is that what it is?
I don't think they're playing for David Bell. I think managers, I don't know if I think his job is to push the right buttons, but his job is to stay out of the way.
Right.
David Bell has had a habit, in my opinion, of getting in the way too much, over managing. And still, I feel like he's made some decisions over the last couple of weeks while winning that I'm not a fan of. But I've always said, I'm not a big believer in the overuse of advanced analytics. But hey, if you're winning, who am I to say anything?
Right.
But you cannot preach to me, oh, David Bell knows what he's doing while they continue to lose. They're winning. And that's all that matters right now. I know Scott Whetstone on Facebook right now. He's like, we're going undefeated from here on out. Go Reds. He's I could tell he's annoyed because he's not a big David Bell fan. I'm not anti-David Bell. I'm not a David Bell fan either, but all I want is to win. That's all I want is for the Reds to win. That is all that matters. So there you go. Keith Tolliver says the Reds will be toast 2 weeks after the All-Star break. That's the positivity I'm looking for. Scott Whetstone says, come on, Keith, let's enjoy a winning team while we can. Go Reds. That's the positivity that we are looking for. Doug Toby on Facebook, Kev says, which NL Central team is going to be the most rested and have the most depth down the stretch during the dog days of August? Right now, that could potentially be the Cardinals. We're not looking at the Cardinals. We're focused on how bad the Cubs have been. We're focused on how good the Brewers have been. Right. And we're focused on this recent hot streak of the Reds. The Cardinals, Doug, are always that team you got to look out for and will be that team when it's all said and done, most likely. The Cubs are about to blow this up. The Cubs have lost 10 straight, Kev. They're not playing good baseball. They have lost 10 straight. They are not playing good baseball. There was talks of them being very similar to the Reds, that where they are at the trade deadline or where they are at the All-Star break would dictate the moves from the front office. There's been rumors that the Cubs are about to blow this thing up and start all over. Chris Bryant could be gone. We could be watching the final month of Chris Bryant in a Cubs uniform. There's a lot, Rizzo could be on his way out. We could see a lot of these big Cubs players be moved off of, and that's the reality of it. So I don't think the Cubs are going to be a factor in the second half. The Pirates are the Pirates. They won't be a factor. I do think that the Brewers are good. I do not think they are as good as what they have been. They just had that 10-game win streak snapped at the loss to the Mets yesterday. I think the Brewers will continue being a slightly above average team. I think the Reds are average to above average, depending on the week. I think that the Cardinals are that team waiting in the weeds. The Cardinals will be that team that gets hot coming out of the All-Star break, like they always do.
Right.
But I do believe the Cubs are gone. They're done. The Pirates are who they are. The Brewers will not be as good in the second half as they were in the first half, but they'll be in the mix. I can't tell if this is a good division or just a division full of average teams. Like, it's not the NFC East, all right, out of the NFL, but it's just a bunch of teams that's still looking for their identity. And more of who they aren't than who they are. And that's going to be the big thing heading into the second half for all of them.
What's the ideal start for the Reds coming out of the second half with the 3 with the Brewers, 3 with the Mets, and then 3 with the Cardinals? Like, that is...
That's the season. Coming out of the All-Star break, that's the season. It reminds me, I think it might have been that. So the Reds right now are 4 games above 500 in July for the first time since 2014. If I'm not mistaken, and I'll pull this up here in a bit, I believe that was the season that they were above 500 heading into the All-Star break. They were playing real well. And it might have been David Bell, or not David Bell. It might have been Brian Price's first year because he still had Cueto and they had Leak and they had all those guys still. They had Jay Bruce and Frazier and everybody. They were well above 500. They were second in the division. They were playing hot baseball heading into the break, and then they got swept by the Yankees coming out, and then they never recovered from that point. So for Kev's negativity right there, that could be what we're setting ourselves up for, but I really, really hope not.
I'm not trying to be negative. I'm
the one thing about this
looking
team,
at the schedule.
No, the one reason I'm willing to buy into this team more than that season is because the talks of the rebuild were already on the minds of everyone at that point. This year, the Reds are one of the best offensive teams in baseball one way or another. And that's the thing that they've been winning. The reason they've been winning is because of that. They've been losing because of pitching, and right now they're winning because of it all. The pitching's been there starting. The rotation's been pitching real well. Obviously, the bullpen's been fantastic over the last 10 days. And then, of course, the run support has been there when you look at the hot bats of not just the 2 all-stars, the 2 starting all-stars for the National League and Winker and Castellanos, but you look at Jonathan India, you look at Tyler Stevenson, Joey freaking Votto, Suarez had a great series against the Cubs, and that is all you can ask for. Oh, man, look at the time. We'll step away for a few. I do want to talk about the possibility of adding Trevor Story, the shortstop from the Rockies. I've seen a lot of mixed reaction about that on Facebook and Twitter throughout the day, and really when the report came out last night. Here are the teams, by the way, who are targeting Trevor Story, the all-star shortstop for the Rockies, as we head into the final month before the trade deadline. The Angels, the White Sox, and the Braves, along with the Cincinnati Reds. Those are the 4 teams who are reported to be pursuing Trevor Story at the trade deadline. Some are saying, what are you doing? You got to get the pitching. Others are saying, You're really, really good offensively. There's not a move. And by the way, I will say this before we hit timeout. There is not a move out there that's going to make this bullpen a top 10 bullpen in baseball. You're not going to have a top 10 bullpen in baseball, no matter what additions you make at the deadline. So it's one of those where if you make a move or two to get a couple finer arms in that bullpen, and you go ham to make sure you get a Trevor Story, you take that offense that has been winning you games already, even with the bad bullpen, and you make them even more lethal. I can get down with that. We'll talk about that next.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Trade Pros. Ferguson is committed to making business with us the easiest part of your day. Ferguson.com is designed to help run your business from the office to the job site by making your day-to-day activities easier with 24/7 account access, unmatched online inventory, and on-the-go account management. And with our Pro Plus customer loyalty program, you can earn points with every online purchase, redeemable for merchandise, event tickets, trips, and more. Sign up today at Ferguson.com.
It's time for some straight talk. We've all been there. You have some real work to do, but the free Wi-Fi where you're working isn't going to cut it. It's like leaving the winning runner stranded on third base. Not good. Well, now you can be your own hotspot with Straight Talk's Ultimate Unlimited plan. Get 10 gigs of hotspot data for just $55 a month. All on America's largest, most dependable networks. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Compatible device required. See straighttalk.com.
Facebook is rolling out live audio rooms and podcasts to give you a new way to connect with some of your favorite celebrities, creators, experts, and Facebook groups. Do more than just listen. Live audio rooms offer an interactive experience so you can join the conversation about the topics you love with some of your favorite public figures and friends. Learn to train your mind like an elite athlete with NFL quarterback Russell Wilson. Discuss female excellence and overcoming obstacles with Grammy-nominated electronic music artist Toki Monsta. Join changemakers like Amanda Wynn as they discuss pursuing justice and making progress. Anyone can listen to live audio rooms, and there's no limit on how many listeners can take part. There's more to come. You can expect to see live audio rooms from other public figures like Kaylani, Tina Knowles-Lawson, and DeRay McKesson. And with podcasts on Facebook, whether you're into true crime documentaries or comedy, you'll have access to a diverse catalog of podcasts from creators like Joe Budden and Nicola Matthews-Akome. Discover new live audio rooms and podcasts in your Facebook newsfeed and join the conversation.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Hi, I'm Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Mike Foley.
And I'm Kettering Clerk of Court Rob Scott.
We're teaming up together to expand access to justice in our community. Our Help Center provides legal information and access to legal programs free of charge.
The Help Center can't provide legal advice, but if you need information on a wide range of legal issues, check in with the Help Center at Kettering Municipal Courthouse on the second and third Mondays of the month at no cost to you.
I'm Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Mike Foley.
And I'm Kettering Clerk of Court Rob Scott.
Visit courthouse.com.
Whether it's next day delivery or getting involved in their local communities, Napa goes above and beyond to serve you because their motor never quits. That's Napa know-how.
All right, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. Coming up here in hour number 2, we'll hear a couple pieces from our conversation with Mike Golick Jr., who, of course, was on the call for the hot dog eating contest this past weekend, the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. So there's that. You know my opinion on that. Also, coming up in hour number 2, LeBron James, he confronts a youth tournament public address announcer who he disagreed with how he called a foul on his son, Bronny. So I know it sounds like a weird headline. It is a weird headline. In fact, headlines are not supposed to be longer than 10 words, but look at this headline. Look at that. I mean, it's like, look at that. That's almost 10 lines worth. That's a long headline. That's not okay. But nonetheless, lots to get into coming up in hour number 2. How about the Dayton Flyers adding a huge home-and-home with the Power 5 team that we'll talk about? In fact, it's a team that they've beaten recently in Maui. And now you can expect to see that same team playing at the arena this coming up season. Well, we'll talk about that coming up around the corner. Plus, fans will be available or will be able to attend the Red Scare TBT games. We have that coming up in hour 2. So much coming your way on the other side. Don't go anywhere. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Hour 2 coming up.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
O'Reilly. Ready for your next road trip? Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts to get everything you need to stay safe while traveling. With Blue Magic Glass Cleaner. On sale now, 2 for $5. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Business is built on connections. And with Square, you can connect every side of your business with tools that all work together. From your customers and your sales to your staff and your schedules, everything is in sync. So you can get a head start on shaping what's to come. See how Square can help connect every side of your business by visiting square.com/go/connect. That's square.com/go/connect.
I need some backup. I got to get these trucks to Tuscaloosa by Tuesday.
Trevor's Trucking needs 3 18-wheeler drivers with commercial licenses ASAP, or his company will stall.
If we don't move the rigs before this weekend, we're going to be in trouble.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Ohio roofing contractors, ready to rev up your business this year? Use the Beacon Pro Plus app to help jobs run smoothly and save time. The Beacon Pro Plus app features simple online ordering, order history, and bill pay 24/7, anywhere, anytime. And now, Ohio roofing contractors who use Beacon Pro Plus have a chance to win a new Ford F-150. You work hard, now work smarter. Learn more at BECN.com/Ohio today. That's BECN.com/Ohio.
There's nothing better than a fresh-made home-style meal, but not everyone loves the hassle of cooking. At Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, home-style happens here with our famous 12-piece family meal at a great price. This famous family meal includes 12 mixed pieces of Lee's fresh, never-frozen chicken that is honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and cooked to perfection, plus 3 large sides and 6 fluffy biscuits. Get a home-style meal made easy today with Lee's 12-piece family meal at a great price. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Audible delivers everything you love listening to all in one app. Stream the newest releases, bestsellers, Audible originals, popular podcasts, and more. Start listening free with a 30-day trial at audible.com.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Weekdays at 3 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, we welcome you back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. And we're about 24 hours plus into this name, image, and likeness where the college athletes had the nerve to try to make money off of their name, image, and likeness. They're ruining college athletics. They're ruining the NCAA infrastructure. And that's what we're going to talk about with our next guest, Mike Golick Jr. Mike Golick Jr. from Shanae and Golick Jr. weekdays from 4 to 7 p. on ESPN Radio. But because Kev and I are selfish, we take 2 of their hours, so you can hear them from 6 to 7 on ESPN 1410 Wing. Mike, welcome in, man. I appreciate your time today.
Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
And we appreciate you letting us borrow 2 hours of your showtime here on Wing. So I will say that. But yeah, so the world hasn't ended. I believe most of the people out there slept just fine last night, despite, you being a former college athlete. I mean, the nerve of you guys to actually try and make money off your name, image, and likeness. What the hell is wrong with you guys?
It is amazing, just the greed and selfishness rampant in college athletes here. You know what? You're right, though. I went to bed last night. We all woke up this morning, and my God, the whole establishment didn't burn down. I looked at my house, all doing fine. I checked on my parents. They're out by South Bend. The dome didn't crumble into the earth at Notre Dame. So I think we're all going to be okay as the dust kind of settles on this. And I said yesterday, we were drinking NIL through a fire hose yesterday when all of this news came out. Every single deal, no matter how big or small, was reported yesterday and blown up. And listen, it felt even overwhelming for me to try and keep track of. So I can imagine for a person who looks at any change to college sports as a threat to this thing that they love, that yesterday was kind of scary. And so I kind of went out of my way to just pat everyone on the back and be like, listen, this isn't going to change the sport that you watch pretty much at all when we get to the fall, when we get to this winter. So don't worry so much about it.
Yeah, and we kind of had an idea of some things that were going to, like social media. That's going to be the main core of a lot of these money-making opportunities, I would assume. So we kind of know some of the avenues that we would assume coming into this. Have you come across, again, we're only a day into this, have you come across something that you were surprised by? Is there an example of a NIL deal that you looked at and said, oh, that's a good idea, I didn't think of that?
You know what? I'm going to use this one example to be funny to get to what I thought was the cooler, larger point today. Is there was some offensive lineman, I want to say at Marshall, who was excited because now he can go and receive money to play guitar at the bar that he likes to go and play at. He can do paid gigs there at the bar. And that, to me, I was like, oh, that's kind of entrepreneurial, good for him. And the more and more of these I looked around and realized, I said, all right, Kyle Hamilton at Notre Dame and a couple of his teammates started a podcast there. I'm sure you're going to get some players that work in design that start to try and see if they can profit off things like their website, because we went through this a couple of years ago with that punter from Central Florida who had a YouTube channel. And the more I looked around at this, and I said, well, you know what? A lot of my teammates that I would have leave school that would come back when I was still in there say, you know, when we go out into the job market with this Notre Dame degree, I got the jobs that I want telling me, well, I have a great degree, but I don't have any experience in the field. I didn't get to do the internships. And then I got the jobs that I have to think I settle for saying, well, you're overqualified for this. And so I look at this now and say, all right, what a great avenue for entrepreneurial players who might look and say, I'm not an NFL caliber star, and have that realization while they're in college. Now they can go out there, earn some money in their free time by doing this thing that the NCAA loves to put out there, right? Going pro in something other than sports, starting to set themselves up for their life after whatever that sport is. And so now you've got real world avenues where these players can get a crash course in, all right, how do I set these things up in something that might be my future career? What's the structure going to look like financially for me? What are the tax implications for this? And I think all of that can end up being, exactly what this is all supposed to be, right? Like an educational experience.
Yeah, for me, since we're so selfish and everything like that, all we talk about is how it's going to affect college football and college basketball and everything like that. But there's a ton of other sports that this affects. We're reading about the gymnast who has a potential $2 million deal on the table. So I think this is going to be huge for women's sports as well. What do you think?
Oh, massive. The name that stuck out to me yesterday, because I'm with you, we heard a lot of people talking about someone like Katie Ledecky, who's going to go down as probably the most decorated female swimmer, maybe one of the more decorated Olympians ever. I remember a name because my sister was a college swimmer. Missy Franklin was a swimmer around her time who, same deal, like a lot of these Olympic athletes have to turn down hundreds of thousands of dollars in endorsement money when they go and represent their country in the biggest Olympic, the biggest sporting competition the world has. And so now those athletes aren't going to have to sacrifice one for the other anymore. And we talked about this yesterday with a lot of people is it's a great chance through all of this, through these advertisements, through this financial support, to get to know these athletes better in some of these Olympic sports, in some of the sports that women play that may not get the support. Hell, we saw this spring, women's basketball not getting the support from the governing body that it deserves in this. And so at the very least now, if you're getting dollars and cents poured into these athletes, it's going to tell their stories more, which is going to bring more eyeballs to the sport. And I think all has a net benefit there.
I was talking with some friends of mine there on the aspect of saying this is going to spiral out of control. And I just attack it from the standpoint of, the NCAA has spent decades trying to block things like this from happening. And I just view this as chickens coming home to roost for the NCAA.
Yeah, well, and you're right, especially on, because listen, nothing is going to come without problems, right? We've seen the transfer pool already having some issues there, and I think that is an objective good. Like, I think choice for these athletes in a limited window to earn and participate and give themselves an opportunity beyond college is an absolute good. But it's going to come with issues that arise because we're doing this for the first time. And what the NCAA, especially, you're right, getting their chickens come to home to roost is, they had a chance for so long to see this coming. This was not something that snuck up on them. And they could have said, you know what? We've got compliance officers on campus all over the country. We've got an infrastructure that's already in place for how we govern some of these things. We could make ourselves actually useful to this process and say, we're going to put some things in place to make sure that these athletes are taken care of, that when these things come up, we're going to have ways to educate them, ways to make sure that they're not getting taken advantage of by people coming into this situation looking to make a buck. But no, instead they decided to lawyer up and bury their heads in the sand. And so now when these problems arise and we all rightly rake them over the coals, they're going to have to sit there and eat it. And now they're getting it from, state representatives and the Supreme Court. Like, the voices are only growing louder around Mark Emmert in this group.
We're hanging out with ESPN's Mike Golick Jr. here today as we head into the holiday weekend. Of course, we appreciate him hanging out with us here on the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Mike, a few years ago, I got a speeding ticket. I was going 65 and a 55. And now that 55 speed limit is a 65, and I still had to pay for that ticket. And I'm thinking about reaching back out and saying I want my money back because that ticket that I paid for it, that was because I was going 65 and a 55. Well, that's now 65, so I should get my money back, right? It doesn't work that way. In this Reggie Bush storyline is kind of interesting to me because he wants his Heisman back, he wants his stats restored. I know the rules were outdated. I know they were silly. I didn't agree with them, but at the end of the day, a rule was still broken. He, rules that he knew the repercussions of breaking, were going to be there, and it happened. Where are you with Reggie Bush wanting his Heisman back, wanting the stats restored? I have no problem with him wanting it back and wanting the stats restored, but to truly expect it to happen and to vilify the NCAA if they don't do it, where do you sit on that when it comes to that big picture?
Oh, no, they need to give him that trophy back.
Damn it, come on.
Your analogy with the speeding ticket is performance-based, right? Like, that rule was there to govern your participation in driving on the road with other people's safety. That would be like if this was a conversation about Reggie Bush and PEDs, but it's not. Reggie Bush having a car or his family having a house or whatever the hell happened with him in that situation, none of it affected the way that dude played football. Like, Reggie Bush went out there and earned that Heisman and everything else with the way that he performed on the football field here. This was something that runs parallel to that. It is not perpendicular. It's not crossover. And so I don't think that there's anything that precludes them from going back and doing the right thing and saying, hey, you know what? The way that we went about this was silly. I mean, quite frankly, like, the notion of taking it away for what they did is sort of silly in general. It's this usual high and mighty NCAA. We want to look like some bastion of morality when we know and see time and time again they're anything but.
I was really counting on you to agree with me on that. And we have a rule that if you don't agree with me, you can't do the show anymore. So there goes your one interview every 3 months, Mike. I'm just telling you. But Kev, you wanted to jump in on that.
Yeah, man.
You're going to take the third hour from me.
That makes more work for me. We ain't about that. So there you go.
You know, Mike, obviously it's the mouse over everything. But, you know, Fox has their big noon kickoff, and here in Buckeye Country, everybody gets their panties in a bunch because Ohio State is constantly on at noon, and they're not under the lights as much as they
My
used
panties
to be.
are in a bunch. I'm one of them. Thank you very much.
So what do you say to those people that have to deal with Ohio State playing at noon as opposed to the night games?
You know what? I don't know if you're going to get anyone that's really going to shed a few tears for Ohio State or the way that they're covered by the outside world. Like, you know what? And this is just me on the other side too. As a player, I always loved a good game. Like, I understand as a fan, you can't be outside drinking all day and getting ready for those night games and doing all that fun stuff. But I loved waking up early, getting right to it, not having to wait around all day to play at some night game there. So I'm a big fan of the noon kick. I think Ohio State, because a lot of these conversations we have around the kick times, I know Nick Saban raised hell about this, but that was mostly related to weather and the things that he thought about there. A lot of this comes down to, for programs, we hear this from the Pac-12, wanting to make sure they're relevant based on when the kickoffs are, that they're going to be digested, that they're going to be involved in all this. And I just can't ever see that being a problem with Ohio State. So I really don't see the fuss here.
And look, I know, and that's Buckeye fans, we have it rough. We have it real rough. So I will say, I know that. No, but in all seriousness, when it comes to this, I understand what Fox is doing. Again, they want to build and they want to build their brand around the big noon kickoff, and that's fine. But what I don't like is that, you know, especially for any program out there, like we'll use Oregon as an example, Ohio State and Oregon, that's a huge non-conference matchup, of course, and that's a noon kickoff. I have a huge problem with that, and I think that you know, it's not just a regular Big Ten Saturday, or it's not your Ohio State versus Miami of Ohio, or you know, some small program like Notre Dame. I'm sorry, what I say? But no, that's a primetime worthy game, and I get that that's Fox's primetime, but I just don't get it. I don't like it at noon. And then also, really, the people that should be complaining most is Oregon. A noon kick, that's 9 a.m. their time. I think they should be the ones having a bigger issue with it than anyone.
Oh, see, and that's I think that's where you're wrong on that side, because we saw last year the Pac-12 campaigning for the. Well, remember, this was a conversation last year in the waning, you know, rest of the Larry Scott tenure in the Pac-12 was, all right, do you try and push for more of these noon kicks, even though it's a 9 a.m. local kick for what it would be on your body clock out where they're used to in Eugene here? The Pac-12 saying we need games like this where we're going to be in the middle of the day. And I know for them, they're scared. They appeared to be scared as hell of going up against the SEC in that 3:30 window, which I know isn't the case for Ohio State, isn't the case for the Big Ten. But for the Pac-12, I don't think you'll get any qualms about that, because the one thing about being the noon kick is your highlights run for the rest of the day. Mm-hmm. And so for the Pac-12, if you get in that game, every show that's on for the rest of the day covering college football, running highlights of your game against Ohio State. So it's a good branding opportunity for them. I get it for Ohio State, but I don't know. There's part of me that just looks at it and says college football is an all-day immersive experience for my Saturdays. And whether it's a noon start, whether it's the 3:30 window, whether it's prime time here, I'm usually dialed into all of it, and I feel like college football's fan bases especially are kind of willing to get up and get after it.
All right, Notre Dame needs to be in the conference. Let's just rip that Band-Aid off right away. So I got that out there. The college football playoff proposal. I've been saying for a while that Notre Dame, you know, I would like them to get in the conference. I was actually upset with the ACC for bailing you guys out. I'll just be a little honest with you. I thought they bailed you guys out last year. But you know, they took care of business. They made the playoff anyway. So they laughed at me and everyone else who has the opinion I do about it. But what's your thoughts on this 12-team playoff proposal that, big picture still does impact the independents, with Notre Dame being the face of the independents in football, of course. Your thoughts on the 12-team proposal and how that could impact Notre Dame, especially if they're the number one team in the country. They could average 100 points a game and give up 0 points a game and still not be one of the teams with the bye. Your overall thoughts on the proposal?
Yeah, for me, honestly, because Notre Dame's been right on the cusp, right? You got a couple of college football playoff experiences, but in actuality, when we've gotten there, we've seen, all right, there's still a gap to go between them and the top tier of teams. And I mean, talent-wise, when you look at the people that are recruiting at the top level, it's Alabama, it's Georgia, it's Clemson, it's Ohio State. So I'd like to see Notre Dame just continue to make up the gap there. Like, give me the chance to make that argument that your system looks silly. Because right now I look at this 12-team expanded playoff, and it actually seems to make a lot of sense, right? Like, this isn't about competition. Teams, 6 through 12 don't have a real chance to win the national championship. There's like 3 teams every year that have a realistic chance. I mean, hell, look at the title game that we just watched this last year. Some years there's 1 team. So what we've done is we've recreated the BCS, right? Like, we just have more games that mean more now because they've got that college football playoff wrapping on them. And so now we're going to have to talk about more of these teams, which I think is an objective good in all of this. For the Notre Dame side of things, it's even easier for us to make the college football playoffs now. Like, I understand, we won't have to have that first round bye, but now there's no more like conference championship Saturday when we used to sit around and have to worry about being out of sight and out of mind. Like, now, like an 11-win, 12-win Notre Dame team is making the college football playoff, no questions asked now. And so they're going to keep giving them that proximity. It's just going to be a matter for Notre Dame. Can they, Brian Kelly now in his second decade in the program, which is a wild thing to say now, the passage of time on that, but can they continue to build on what they've had and, find that quarterback that can break them through or find that next thing that gets them over the hump there? That'll be the real question for them. The conference thing at this point isn't really going to make much of a difference.
Mike, this has absolutely nothing to do with sports, but I am a sneakerhead just like you are. I have taken so many L's on the sneaker app. What is your strategy? How can I get my sneaker game back up to par, man? Because I haven't won on sneaker app since about October. I need some wins.
Yeah, no, it's been a struggle, man. I got my first win in probably 6 months, and I saw this actually a while back. Like, Nike basically laid out the ingredients to this pie and said, the more you interact with the app, the better chance you have of hitting on this. So they apparently really want us spending as much time on the sneakers app as we do on Twitter and Instagram. And so I'm trying to just, give it a little love every day, scroll through, hit a couple of those reminders here. What I really need from the sneakers app is this. They'll give me that 15-minute reminder when I click a shoe that I really like. I need like a 5-minute warning. 15 minutes is a long time. Like, right. We got stuff going on here. I get a text. I end up in a meeting, and all of a sudden I look down, and I didn't even get a chance to lose. I didn't even get a chance for you to tell me that I've taken an L again here. So, sneakers, if you're listening to us, give us the 5-minute warning, for the love of God.
Kenner, you don't know the joy of the got 'em on your phone. When you get that got 'em from Nike sneaker app, it is the joy of all joys, man.
No, that's how I feel when I finally get a DoorDash delivery guy to bring me McDonald's late at night whenever no one else will. So I know the feeling. I don't know if it's the same, but it's right up there. So you mentioned Jason Fitz. We told this to him. He did a weekly spot with us during the football season, and your guys' Cheez-It commercial was one of my all-time favorites. I was dying laughing. Did you know that Cheez-Its were started here in the city of Dayton?
I did not know that, but now, I've always enjoyed the city of Dayton. I now am eternally grateful to you guys because me and Cheez-Its have a loving, healthy relationship here, and one that I hope continues for a long time.
Well, there you go. But we've taken up enough of your time. We appreciate the time you have given us. Mike Golick Jr. from Shanae and Golick Jr. again, weekdays from 4 to 7 on ESPN Radio, or 6 to 7 on 1410 Wing AM immediately following our show. You're on here coming up in just a few moments, so we'll let you go. Mike, thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy the call on the hot dog eating contest. We appreciate your time today.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Peace.
Can you get a Go Bucks? Do we get a Go Bucks?
Bye.
That's right. Take care.
See you guys.
Later. Thanks, man.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 92. Tonight will be mainly clear, a low around 73. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high near 92. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane, making buying propane easy since 1952, offering budget billing and pre-buy options. Find out more at culletpropane.com.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late, and that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
O'Reilly. Ready for your next road trip? Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts to get everything you need to stay safe while traveling. Visibility on the road is so important and so easy to achieve. Get your windshield streak-free and crystal clear with Blue Magic Glass Cleaner. On sale now, 2 for $5. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
So, how can I promote my new curbside pickup service?
It's possible with Staples Connect.
I need custom floor decals that'll get noticed, not just walked on.
Also possible. Staples Connect can help your business grow with custom printed sales and marketing materials. Now get $20 off signs, banners, or posters when you spend $75 or more. Explore what's new at your local Staples. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. N731 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/signage for details.
Life hacks. What would life be without them? Like using candle wax to loosen a stuck zipper. Here's another life hack. Now you can get the same high-quality insurance from Allstate, but at a new low rate. With Allstate, you can lower your rates, not your expectations. Visit Allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Not available in every state. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Now at Menards, save big money in your next outdoor project with 11% off everything. Transform your deck in one day with Rock Solid Deck Resurfacer. The one-coat coverage, ultra-thick coating is specially designed for heavily worn decks and patios. Save 11% on all Rock Solid Deck Resurfacers and everything else now at Menards. Good through July 10th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Lisa and payroll, hello?
Lisa? Hi, it's Jim at the home office. Any particular reason why your mailroom clerk makes $2.7 million a year?
Well, he's really good, you know.
Is it time to update your payroll network? Call the certified professionals at Arrowhead Tax Accounting and Payroll Services in New Carlisle at 937-543-5770. Arrowhead Tax Accounting and Payroll Services. Our target is your satisfaction.
What if I told you you could save 50% off your monthly cell phone bill without sacrificing your service? This is Jill Schlesinger, CBS News business analyst, and I'm talking about H2O Wireless. If you're with AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, you're just paying too much. Listen to this. You can get unlimited talk, text, and 15 gigs of data for just $36 a month. That means the average person is probably saving $400 a year. You might use that to fund your emergency reserve fund or pay down some credit card bills or put some money in your retirement plan. And you know, switching is so easy. You can keep your phone, keep your number. You just have to swap out your SIM card. You get the same great service you currently have, but at half the price. Right now, you can save 50% off your first month when you dial #250 and say keyword get H2O. That's pound 250 and say keyword get H2O to start saving today.
Audible delivers everything you love listening to all in one app. Stream the newest releases, bestsellers, Audible originals, popular podcasts, and more. Start listening free with a 30-day trial at audible.com.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. I was announced earlier today, and of course, got final confirmation of it, even though we knew it was going to happen. But so the Dayton Flyers will be taking on Virginia Tech in the non-conference at UD Arena this coming up season.
Nice.
That's a very nice addition to the non-conference. The non-conference that was already very good for the Dayton Flyers, now in position just to continue to add to the depth of that. So the University of Dayton has announced that it will host Virginia Tech in men's basketball on Sunday, December 12th. Dayton will return the game at Virginia Tech during the 21-22 season. So the last game between these two teams, Kev, it was the semifinals of that 19 Maui Invitational. UD won that in convincing fashion. I think UD was pretty good that year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they were that good. They didn't even make the NCAA tournament. No, but that's still just damn. What that seems like forever ago. By the way, and it was only last year, right? Technically, March Madness last year. I mean, but again, so the Dayton Flyers will host Virginia Tech on Sunday, December 12th. The last time these two teams played was in the 2019 Maui Invitational. UD won that 89-60 freaking 2. I mean, they didn't just beat Virginia Tech. I mean, they destroyed them. And again, this will also be Virginia Tech's first visit to the arena since 2000, Kev. And they, of course, 62-59, Dayton won that matchup as well. So they were a member of the A-10 during that time. So interestingly enough, they moved up. This will be the first team from the Atlantic Coast Conference since Georgia Tech came to the arena on December 21st, 2014. Virginia Tech was 15-7 last season and reached the NCAA tournament. Look, this is just a hell of an addition to the non-conference. You already have for the Flyers, you already have the return game. You're at Ole Miss. You have UIC, which I'm still salty about that, but they open up. So the bottom line is the Dayton Flyers, as we sit here on July 6th, so you have you have August, September, October. Damn, we're still 4 months away from college basketball. I felt like we're getting closer, but we're not. But college football is closer. That's all that matters. I mean, I guess this is the last month of the year without football. So that's a pretty good thing.
You're right.
It's a lot like this is the Hall of Fame game is coming up actually.
You get football at the end of the month with training camps.
So it's not optional, Zach Taylor. I just want you to know that. Technically it is. I still love Kev Nash's joke about the reason they didn't pick the Bengals for Hard Knocks is because they weren't confident that Zach Taylor would even hold enough practices to get enough footage for the 5 episode series. That was a Kev Nash Bengals joke, not even a Kidder one, and I'm a little jealous. That wasn't like just not only not my joke about the Bengals, but it was not my joke, and it was really, really good.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I mean, you should be saying thank you to me for, putting that wisdom to you about how to bash the Bengals. But no, real quick. So Tuesday, November 9th, the Dayton Flyers will tip off the season at the arena with the UIC Flames coming in to town. They'll be at SMU, so they'll have that return game. They'll be at Ole Miss, and they have Virginia Tech at home. I think at this point, you're just going to obviously, have some filler games in there. I mean, look, Virginia Tech, that's your premier non-conference UD Arena matchup. There's going to be nothing of interest at the arena. But that's the thing about that from a business standpoint. They reward their fans with one, premier non-conference matchup at home usually, and then the rest is a bunch of teams you've barely even heard of. But that's the thing. The Flyers fans, you don't even need a matchup to get Flyers fans to come out to the arena. They're going to show up. They're going to fill that arena no matter who they're playing. It's just extra loud for some games than others.
You could pick one. You can go to a home game for the Flyers or a home game for the Buckeyes. Football versus basketball.
I'll pick. The thing is, UD basketball, the atmosphere for both Buckeye home games and UD basketball home games, they're both electric. But UD basketball that's just a special vibe there because like Buckeye football, you can get that vibe at a lot of, I've been to a Purdue game that has actually been rocking. I'm not comparing them to Ohio State. Calm down. I'm just saying you can get that Buckeye football atmosphere against the nobodies anywhere. You can't get that UD Arena atmosphere against nobodies. It's rare. It's tough to find that just anywhere. Like even when Cintas is rocking, it's good atmosphere. It's not UD Arena. Cincinnati, I haven't been to their new arena yet, but I'm not going to be willing to say that that's more electric than UD Arena. UD Arena is so damn electric, and it's rare because of, I can't even call them small. They're not small, but you know what I mean? It's a non-power five. It's a Power 5 atmosphere at a non-Power 5 school. I'll just leave it at that, but is what it is. I like this non-con though. They got to take care of I have no clue what to expect of this team coming up this year. It's strange. Like I recognize some of the names on there, of course, but I mean, we haven't seen a lot of minutes out of a lot of these guys. I mean, Weaver got better as the season went on last year. At first it looked like, man, that was, there was a lot more hype of the Weaver kid coming in from USC than what actually panned out on the floor. But he got better as the season went on. But I mean, there's no Jalen Crutcher, there's no Obi Toppin, there's no Ryan Mikesell or any of these names we've been so familiar with for years, which could be a good thing.
Revamp.
It is. We know what this great recruiting class coming in, but again, I'm not willing to say that automatically is going to make them good this season. But when you bring in those type of athletes and you bring in that type of talent and you have Anthony Grant and you have the magic that is, that arena, you combine all of that and they might end up getting more out of a team with less expectations than what they did out of the team last year with the expectations. So I'm excited for this upcoming college basketball season, mainly because you're seeing it in baseball. We tolerated baseball last year. We tolerated college football last year. We tolerated the NBA and all that stuff. We wanted sports so bad, but we tolerated a lot of uncomfortable, empty arena games, empty stadium games. You know what I mean? Just the display and the production just was not the same. college basketball this year to hear the fans back in the arena, whether it be UD Arena, whether it be the Nutter Center, whether it be the Shot, and that the Shot will be rocking again when they have Duke come into town. Like everyone rips the Shot because it's a concert venue more than it is a basketball. It's an NBA arena. I mean, it's bigger than some NBA arenas. I mean, that's the problem. There's not a lot of matchups that fill the Shot. Duke will, and the atmosphere will be great, but there's not enough of those type of matchups all year to keep that atmosphere there. Like I said, but with UD, it doesn't matter who they play. They have UIC on the 9th. That place will be rocking just as much as it will when Virginia Tech's in town. It'll be a little louder for Virginia Tech, but you see my point.
You know what? I was going to lie. The last Ohio State basketball game I went to was when they played Syracuse in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. That was probably like 3-4 years ago. And I'm trying to think before that, the last Ohio State basketball game that I went to, because I definitely didn't go during the Diebler years and everything like that. I didn't see Conley and Odin. So I'm trying to think, man, it's been a very long time since I went to a Buckeyes game.
The last Buckeye game I went to at the Shot was the it was the return. It was John Brannon's first year at Cincinnati. Year 1 of 2. Year 1 of 2 before he was chased out of Bearcat Nation over there. Doug Toby, by the way, said, "Kev, do not be a troll puppet."
I'm sorry, man. It was too easy.
And I don't even think you meant it to be funny at first until you started saying it. You're like, wait a minute, this is a funny. It was pretty damn funny. I'm going to repeat it. I might steal it. I'm going to steal that joke. I'm going to even tweet it out. I'm going to give it a few days to breathe so people will forget that Kev came up with it. I'm going to steal it. But no, for those of you who did not hear it, the Dallas Cowboys are on Hard Knocks for the 3rd time. They're the only franchise to ever be selected to be on Hard Knocks that many times. Multiple teams have been in there twice. The Bengals have been on there twice, and a lot of Bengals fans are upset because they felt like this team was interesting enough to be on Hard Knocks. And it's a 5-hour-long episodes. And, of course, the last time I was real critical of the Bengals, it was because Zach Taylor thought that after winning 6 games in 2 years and just a couple days of organized team activities that they'd accomplished everything they needed to, and he ended it early. So Kev, and his comedic genius, says, well, they were going to select the Bengals for Hard Knocks, but they didn't trust that Zach Taylor would hold enough practices to give them the amount of footage they would need to be able to string it together. So I thought that was a pretty good one. I'm stealing that joke.
You can have it. It's all good.
It is what it is. All right. It's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Again, one more time, just good stuff here. So the Dayton Flyers sign a home contract with Virginia Tech, which will start this year. Sunday, December 12th, they will welcome in the Hokies. So there you go. What I like is, like, people say how tough it is for UD to get these home and homes. But like more times than not, they usually get the first. What's better in the home and homes? Is it better to get the first game? Like, I wonder, like, who has leverage in these negotiations? Like, Virginia Tech is probably looking at this Dayton Flyers roster and saying, we know they have a good recruiting. We know that the Flyers recruiting class coming in is really good. Right. But they're freshmen. They're going to be young. This is there is no Jalen Crutcher. There's no Obi Toppin. There's no Landers and Mike Sell. There's no experience on this team. So, is that why you see a team like Virginia Tech say, hey, yeah, we'll even play at you first? Like, wouldn't you want that game right away? Maybe I don't know who has leverage in those. I think the Auburn, the Auburn series, which I thought was huge, Bruce Pearl in Auburn, I thought that was awesome when they got that home and home with them. And Auburn came to the arena first. But that was Kostas Antetokounmpo. That was the 1 year that, he was with them. You know what I mean? Like, it's strange to me that UD gets the upper hand, that gets them first, but maybe that was strategic on Virginia Tech's part. I don't know who has leverage in that. I would assume the Power 5, the bigger school would have the leverage.
I don't know, because in basketball, I think it's not used as much as a bargaining chip as it is in football. In football, you're always thinking about, like, your image and everything like that. You don't want to take a loss early in the season on the road in a high profile game because it can knock you out of the college football playoff. But in basketball, you have so many opportunities to get, better wins throughout the season. So I guess it really doesn't matter when you play them, or if you play them at home or play them on the road, you still can rack up good wins throughout the rest of the season. So I don't think it really even matters. Yeah. And look, I know this Dayton team is, like I said, they're inexperienced. I think they have like 8 returning, in the press release, it says 8 returning letter winners.
They had 3 immediately eligible Division I transfers, and this is coming from Doug Hochschild, the director of media relations, sports information director for the Flyers. Does an awesome job, but he said this, just 3 immediately eligible Division I transfers and a nationally ranked recruiting class. Just because you have players you recognize. Sometimes you have players you recognize, but they're playing new roles, and that makes them new players. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the thing. But like I said, so the Auburn game, and then even last year, SMU playing at UD, but I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look when they signed that contract, because did these programs, knowing that there was going to be no fans at the arena, is that why SMU said, hey, we'll play at you first? They played at SMU, though. That wasn't the SMU. No, was SMU at the arena last year? Yeah, they were. And then, of course, we know how the other games went, too. But they've had some big games on their non-conference. They got some big games coming up, too. Like, they're at Ole Miss. They're at SMU. They were just close losses. SMU was at the arena, and they had limited fans. But is that why? So they're willing to play at the arena first because, you weren't going to have fans last year or limited fans. I'd rather play the arena with 300 Flyers fans as opposed to 13,000.
It's right. You're right. Because like you said before, with the way college basketball, they schedule games in July to say, hey, we're going to be playing in November. It's not like that in football. They scheduling 5-10 years out in advance. So yeah, maybe that is a situation where they have no fear because all right, well, there are going to be less fans in there. There's going to be less distractions for our players and everything like that. We'll shoot up to Dayton and play some ball, and that'll be that. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Because it looks good on the net. Now,
yes.
UD was not as good as I think some of those teams had anticipated. It wasn't a bad win for SMU or whatever. But I mean, when you look, but even this coming up season, choosing to play at the arena this year, you don't want the return game next year. So with this recruiting class coming in, they're going to get their freshman year under their belt. They're going to be, Deron Holmes and company. Then they're going to get that freshman year under their belt, be really experienced heading into next season. I wouldn't want to play the Flyers at UD Arena next year.
Right.
I'd rather play Deron Holmes and those guys right now. I'd rather play them while they're, especially early in the season. Now, technically by December 20th or whenever the hell they said this game was, December 12th, they're a month in. But yeah, I think it was smart of, it is what it is. I just would love to know who has who gets to pick. You have to agree. I don't think beggars can't be choosers. I don't even think the Flyers care when they play these teams. They just want the home and home. One way or another, 13,000 fans are going to be in attendance to watch Virginia Tech, regardless of where the progress is with the team at that point of the season.
It's amazing that those can get worked out with basketball teams, but it takes tooth and nail to get things locked down with football. Like egos come into full range when you're talking about trying to get a contract locked down for a football team. I mean, obviously no disrespect to UD, they have a storied program and everything like that, but Virginia Tech, they're coming from the big bad ACC and everything like that. They could have tried to be like, we're from the ACC, you guys come to us to do a 2-1 like they do in football, with Florida and UCF and all that type of stuff. But that doesn't happen in basketball. Basketball coaches and ADs, they just seem like they're willing to go wherever just to play a game.
Now, I get labeled as, I'm a UD hater. I'm not a UD hater. So I'm going to respond to this in the way I always do and to get ripped for it. I don't think that the Flyers are disrespected in regards to we don't want to go play the Flyers. They don't want to play at an A10 school. I think it's the conference in which UD plays in that keeps teams from wanting to sign those home and homes, because what I'll never understand is Dayton is a great game to have on the schedule, especially if we talk about the net rankings and you want to get those quad 1 and 2 games and to play Dayton at Dayton and to beat Dayton at Dayton. If you do, those are huge resume boosters. But I just think that some conferences have this stigma of I'm not going to play an A10 school at an A10 school, no matter how good I don't care if Dayton was number 3 in the country 2 years ago. They still play in the A10, which is why it's so important for them to get out of the A10. There's just not really anything that makes sense as, people throw out the Big East, but you got to dominate the A10 before you can get out. You can't win the damn A10 for at least 2, 3, 4, 5 straight years. Why would moving to the Big East? I mean, I get it, resources, TV, revenue, all that stuff would help, but you can't skip steps. That's where I'm at with that. But I will say that there are teams who are looking past. I think those mid-tier teams like Virginia Tech, that's why you're seeing the SMUs and the Ole Miss, those teams need games like Dayton. They need those games, and that's why you see more of that. You're not going to see Kentucky go play at the arena.
Right.
You won't see Duke or any of those teams play at the arena, but you will see those middle of the pack teams. I'm surprised. When's the last Big Ten team that's played at the arena? That wasn't the first four.
Right. I was just about to say that.
I can't remember. I don't remember the last Big Ten, but it's always these SEC. I mean, give the SEC credit that you're getting some of these, and the ACC, you're getting some of those teams to come in. I know Virginia Tech's not an SEC school, but we've seen a lot of those SEC schools come in over the years, like Mississippi State and others. So
I'm going to get a beat down.
There you go. Charles Mitchell. See, you got me in trouble. Charles Mitchell. Delusional Bengals fan, but he's one of my favorite listeners. He says, I haven't tuned in much because of my work schedule, and within 1 minute you bash the Bengals. That's not fair. That's not fair. I have no interest in talking about the Bengals. I'm talking about I spent more time talking about the actual winning team in Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Reds. Charles, it was Kev who made the joke. Don't get mad at me, get mad at Kev. Don't shoot the messenger. I was repeating the very funny and honestly truthful joke that Kev said. Don't get mad at me, Charles. But he goes, time's almost up, Justin. Time's almost up. He goes, enjoy the next 2 months. Who day?
Ooh, I sense a bet coming on.
I love how, I mean, this is the happiest couple months for Bengals fans. It's the couple months of we have a chance. Then the season gets here, and then reality slaps them in the face. And then they have to not only watch their team lose, but they have to watch the Browns win. That's like a double whammy. You know, it wouldn't be as hard for the Bengals to be as bad as they are if the Browns were who they typically are. But it's even worse when the Browns are one of the best teams, not just in the division, but one of the best teams in the entire NFL. And you got to watch that while watching your team finishing last again. I get it. Charles, I'm going to take it easy on you. It's tough times for you. I get it. Doug Toby asked an interesting question. He says, does this new college rule with the name, image, and likeness, Kev, have anything to do with the big Buckeye news from over the weekend? Not recruiting on the football side of things, but E.J. Liddell announced he's coming back. That is huge. E.J. Liddell is coming back to Ohio State next season. And many people thought that there was a good chance he would, go into the NBA draft, and he was testing those waters. I'm still not. I hate that Dwayne Washington Jr. that he stayed in the draft. I mean, pulling for him. He had a really good combine. A lot of good reports out of that combine as far as how he looked. Dwayne Washington opting to take his chances. He's going to be a second rounder. Not saying you can't make it. A lot of really good second rounders in there. I just thought he would come back. But Doug Toby says, does this new college rule have anything to do with E.J. Liddell staying at Ohio State? I do think it has led to a lot of guys returning. Like, have you noticed the uptick in announcements from John Rothstein and Goodman and those guys? Like, however many players are opting to return back to their college team.
Right.
Because I think there's a little curiosity there. I think there's like, okay, I know I'm going to have a chance to make money in the NBA when I get drafted, but I have to, get drafted and not get cut.
Right.
And then I have to maybe go pursue money playing overseas, or I can come back to college, beef up my NBA resume, and have a chance to make some good coin now. I think that the curiosity of, I think some of these athletes who are on the verge of whether, choosing to stay in the NBA draft waters or return, I think that because now they've been approved to make money off their name, image, and likeness, that's a good question, Doug. That could have been the thing that swayed E.J. Liddell to come back and say, well, not only are we playing Duke at home and we're playing at Xavier this year, we have a really good non-conference schedule. We have a good chance to compete at the top of the Big Ten and get back to the NCAA tournament and not lose to Oral freaking Roberts. I think E.J. Liddell doesn't want his lasting memory being losing to Oral Roberts in the NCAA tournament.
I don't know, man. That's a good point. A lot of guys have the opportunity to come back and make a couple of dollars for themselves. But I mean, I think it's really all about, seeing the ton of young guys, because we always hear about guys entering their name into the draft and going to the draft combine and coming back and everything like that. Because I think a lot of the guys think like, all right, man, I'm better than player A, B, C, and D in my conference. I'm better than that dude. We beat them in the tournament. I'm better than him. But they tend to forget about the pack of guys that are coming from overseas and everything like that. Then you have the guys that coming straight out of high school, quote unquote, that go overseas or go to the G League. So those names get sprinkled into the mix. So where you found yourself like, all right, man, I'm at the back end of the first round. If I go have a good workout, I can maybe jump up into the mid first round. But then there's an influx of a whole bunch of guys that you've never even heard of. I've never even heard of. Nobody's ever seen them play besides scouts and everything like that. And then you find yourself in the middle of the second round, and you're thinking to yourself like, man, I could find myself out of the league before I even get into the league. So I might as well go back to school. And especially with this incentive, quote unquote, with the name, image, and likeness, you're willing to bet on yourself a little bit more because you're going to be able to make some money, especially when you're the number one guy at Ohio State. We know how Buckeyes love Buckeyes. E.J. Liddell will be taken care of in Columbus.
Did you see? I think it was Miami, a booster, not Miami of Ohio, the Hurricanes. A booster laid down a flat. I forgot what the total amount that they donated was, or I guess $6,000 a player. Wow. For some kind of like endorsement deal. And again, most of this stuff is going to be through social media endorsement type stuff. But what this does is, for one, the boosters get their egos out there. They get their name out there. Oh man, so and so.
I know Derek.
Yeah,
here's his phone number.
Yeah, he so and so just dropped a crap ton of money on the football program, and now every player that goes to the U is now going to get $6,000 as part of this. Now, what that's going to do is, if they start getting players flooding to Miami because, oh man, that's $6,000 in your pocket right there. Now you might have other schools who are competing on the recruiting trail with them that a booster might come into play there and say, well, we'll pay you $7,000 if you come to this school. The school to look out for is, I thought we were going to see UCF kind of come up the ranks a little bit, especially with, the coach from Auburn, losing my dang mind.
I was going to say Muschamp.
Gus Malzahn. So they get Gus Malzahn, which is huge, by the way. And I thought that was going to be big for them. But Miami could cancel that out now. Because I think Gus Malzahn's a hell of a coach. I think that's huge for UCF. It's huge for Cincinnati and the American to have that kind of power there. But I thought where UCF was going to start to make up ground, but they're not going to have the same financial resources that Miami and some of these other, Florida and some of these others are going to do. I mean, Florida will just continue paying their players. They'll just do it now over the table instead of under the table. I mean, that's basically how this is going to work. But no, you're going to see that. And to your point, to close this conversation out, and to go back to Doug Toby's question about that, is the new name, image, and likeness one of the reasons we're seeing Liddell come back? I definitely think that's the case. But I think it's going to be good for college basketball because a lot of fringe players are like, okay, I had a great freshman year. I have the opportunity to go to the NBA. I can gamble on myself, declare for the draft, and if I don't get it, I'll just go overseas and play. Mm-hmm. But now there'll be guys like, okay, I know I'm probably not good enough to get drafted in the first round, and the chances of me getting drafted in the second are pretty slim. I'll just go ahead and come back now because I'm at least making some coin while I'm in college. I think that this is the stuff that people did not think when they were envisioning the world coming to an end because athletes had the nerve to make money. I think that we are forgetting about that. I think that's a good question from Doug Toby. The Buckeyes might have already benefited from the name, image, and likeness ordeal because now they have a chance to make money. No need to dive into the deep end and hoping you can swim. Now it's like, well, I don't need to take that risk. I can spend another year learning how to swim before I jump into the deep end, I guess. So another horrible analogy from old Ken Dog over here. I'm like Paul George giving myself a nickname. All right. Keith Tolliver says, by the way, easy decision for Liddell. He wasn't getting drafted. Okay. But G League, I mean, that's the thing, though. With Liddell, probably not. But he'll get a summer league invite.
Yep.
He'll get it, maybe make a G League team, make some money there, or go play overseas. But you know what? All of those options have is the opportunity to make money. You'll make money in the G League. You'll make money playing overseas. You know what? You couldn't make money back in June is in college. Now you can, which means now it's like, okay, that's one of my money-making options. And honestly, it's a win-win. Go back to Ohio State, work on your game more while you're getting paid, and you increase your draft stock. You know what you end up doing if you go play overseas, even if you're really good, you kind of get lost in the shuffle a bit. And I think that's why this helps everything as far as that goes. David Shaw, Hunter Dickerson said it's one of the reasons why. And Shaw, thank you. I don't say that often. I did have his name in my notes. Hunter Dickerson announcing he's going back to Michigan. That's huge for Juwan Howard and company. That dude was just good standing there. He just had to stand there, be tall, be big.
Killed Ohio State on the glass.
He's killing them on the boards. We'll be back.
That was a good one.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Ready for renovations? Arts Rental Equipment has the tools you need to make your home, lawn, and garden stand out this year. From brush chippers to cutoff saws, no job is too small or too big. Visit your local Arts store today. Work smart. Rent from Arts.
Business is built on connections. And with Square, you can connect every side of your business with tools that all work together. From your customers and your sales to your staff and your schedules, everything is in sync. So you can get a head start on shaping what's to come. See how Square can help connect every side of your business by visiting square.com/go/connect. That's square.com/go/connect.
I need some backup. I got to get these trucks to Tuscaloosa by Tuesday.
Trevor's Trucking needs 3 18-wheeler drivers with commercial licenses ASAP, or his company will stall.
If we don't move the rigs before this weekend, we're going to be in trouble.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Folks, you won't find old Roy at Homestead Feed and Supply. We carry raw-coated Canidae, a new product. Less in, less out. Best breed, an Ohio company. Blue Buffalo and other premium dog foods. Because you love your dog, Homestead Feed and Supply, 1833 North Dayton, Lakeview Road. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
Hi, Pete Kasuji here to tell you that if you're looking for the very best selection of your favorite garden plants, we grow over 125 varieties of tomatoes, peppers, cabbage, broccoli, cucumbers, cantaloupe, and eggplants. And if you haven't tried our famous Neighbor Beater tomato and pepper plants, come out and pick up a few and enjoy the best taste you ever had from your garden. They taste so good you'll wish you planted more. And remember, Neighbor Beater garden plants are sold only at our garden center at 1309 Brant Pike. So get out that shovel and start digging. It's time for gardens, bedding plants, rose bushes, vines, ground cover, shade trees and shrubs, bird baths and fountains, and so much more. So join the Green Revolution and come out to see us at 1309 Brant Pike, where we're open 7 days.
What makes the perfect workout? Being able to ride, lift, and stretch in one place with motivating instructors.
Y'all look so good out there, Peloton.
Classes that always work around your busy summer schedule.
Push, Peloton, you've got 20 minutes of opportunity on this ride.
Instructor curated playlists for every mood.
Let's turn it up, come on.
Now what if you had it all? Right at home. The Peloton Bike. Nothing like working out from home. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
So a friend told me about Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, and his exact words were, "It changed my life."
I used to spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to remove tomato sauce from inside our microwave and soap scum off the bathtub.
It's like seriously magic, and my secret weapon for cleaning the kitchen, bathroom, doors, and walls, and even keeping my sneakers clean.
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser.
Greatest invention ever.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, the unicorn of cleaning.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Rittal North America, LLC in Urbana will be hosting on-site walk-in interviews every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Plus, Rittal will be at Urbana University for the Champaign County Career Fair on July 10th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Please come out to see us and enjoy the added activities of food trucks, live music, and autograph signing by former Ohio State Buckeyes. Rittal has immediate openings seeking experienced welders, machine operators, paint unloaders, and paint loaders. Rittal is proud to be an affirmative action and equal opportunity employer.
Do you have a home improvement project? Use the right tool for the job and rent from Arts Rental Equipment. Arts has the best selection from power washers and ladders to loaders and dump trailers. Work smart. Rent from Arts.
Whether it's next day delivery or getting involved in their local communities, Napa goes above and beyond to serve you because their motor never quits. That's Napa know-how.
Want free Reds tickets? How about a free MLB Network Reds bag? Maybe a Reds bobblehead? Here's an idea. How about we combine them all together and give you a chance to win a free WING Reds prize pack presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Register daily at wingam.com. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hi, Tom Bodette from Motel 6, leaving the light on for the three-dimensional soccer fan. Those cardboard cutouts were feeling a little flat. They didn't even yell goal for as long as possible when we finally scored. Well, while the cardboard U is packed away, the real you can head to the next road game. Motel 6 will help you get back into the action with clean, comfortable rooms at a great low rate. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Kev Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on the Kev Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. We're live. We're local. We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
So the opening was held over the weekend, which is pretty cool. And CJ Hicks just impressed everyone. This is a kid that his ranking kind of went from a 3 to a 4 to a 5 recently. And he showed out at this camp at the opening. Very impressive afternoon for him again. He was even kind of going at Maurice Jones-Drew, taking some reps with him or whatever. So that was pretty cool. But nothing was more impressive than the comments from Willie McGinnis on CJ Hicks. This is Willie McGinnis on CJ Hicks. Again, very impressive comments here. He says, "We already know he's a good athlete, but it's the little nuances that separates players. Can they digest information and go out and apply it right away? Are they receptive, and do they have that it factor about them? That dog in him so far, he's checked all the boxes out here for me." CJ Hicks, again, benefited greatly from the opening or whatever, and really kind of got the attention of a lot of people out there. Look, that's a Pro Bowl linebacker, Super Bowl winning linebacker, Pro Bowl linebacker with the Patriots. Mm-hmm. They're not just throwing out praise like that for everybody. CJ Hicks caught the attention of everyone at the opening, and I think that was pretty cool. Just, it's one thing when you have local kids that go on to, play D1 at any level, at college sports in general. But for him to already be getting the attention of guys like that before he even steps foot in the game at the shoe, it's a lot of pressure, but I think I'm pretty pumped to watch that kid play, put on the scarlet and gray.
Very cool, very cool. And I think that we as fans take the intellectual part of football and sports in general for granted. Yeah, we just rely on oh man, he's a super athlete, man. Oh man, he's 6'5", he benches this, he jumps this, he has a 42-inch vertical, man, he ran the 40 and 4.3 flat, but it's a mental aspect to the game as well, and that's just as important as the physical.
All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show, Hour 3 with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio, the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. So the Reds have been busy. They right now, actually, let me hit refresh because this says that they've only won one in a row, and that's not true at all. The Cincinnati Reds are 4 games above 500 in the month of July, and they haven't been 4 games above 500 in the month of July for a long time. The last time that they were streaking like this at this point of the season was back in 2014. And I do have confirmation that was the season, Kev, that they were second place in the division. They were rolling, one of the top teams in baseball, and then they came out and got swept by the Yankees and never looked back from there. Scott Campbell, he says, I remember Scott Campbell coming at us live from YouTube. He says, I remember the 2014 sweep by the Yankees. I was in Yankee Stadium for the first game. Pretty cool, by the way. I do want to make it to Yankee Stadium for a game, even if it is the new one. But he said they just ran out of gas. This year's team won't do that. Of course, what he's referring to is my comment from earlier when I said, I want to be excited about this, but that important series with the Brewers, not just coming up this weekend, but the one coming out of the All-Star break is the one that's most important because we've seen teams get buried the very first week coming back from the All-Star break. And I use that Yankees sweep as an example. Now, he says that this team won't do that. Hopefully not. I think that there's more upside to this team than the downside to the team in 2014 because we knew that team was embarking on a rebuild. I don't think that this team is embarking on a rebuild, but I do believe that the Castellanis have been interested in replenishing the farm system. And if that meant kind of hanging Winker out there a little bit to see what they can get, if it meant moving on from Suarez, which I still think they should do with the way Suarez has improved, I don't think it would be the end of the world to kind of move on from him if they can get something back. But you don't just move on from Suarez for nothing. If you can get something for him, great, which I don't think that they can. But Suarez right now has made things interesting. He had one hell of a series against the Cubs. But over the weekend, Kev, some rumors started circulating that, the Colorado Rockies all-star shortstop Trevor Story is going to be heavily sought after at the upcoming trade deadline on July 30th. And as we head into the All-Star game, which is a week from tonight, by the way.
Wow.
A week from tonight. And the Cincinnati Reds have two starters, of course. In the outfield, you have Nick Castellanos and Jesse Winker. Pretty cool. So with that being said, this team's rolling right now. They've won how many straight now? I mean, they're 4 games above 500. They've won 5 straight. They're 7-3 in their last 10. Besides the Brewers, one of the hottest teams in the National League right now, even though the Brewers have lost 2 straight, which has allowed the Reds to creep back in it a bit. They're 6 games back in the division, 4.5 back out of the wild card. So the Reds, the big question was, will the Reds be buyers or sellers at the upcoming trade trade deadline? And it looked as if when they were 8.5 games back and they, had they lost even 1 or 2 of those games to the Cubs, their season would have been done, in my opinion, and I think they would have been sellers. But the fact that they're 6 games back in the division with the team leading in the Brewers that I think has a lot more faults than what have been evident in the first half of the season at 51-35, do you look at the Brewers and say, that's a 100-win team? I don't. And so you have to ask yourself, will the Brewers repeat their 51-35 record in the second half of the season that they did in the first? I'm not willing to go there. But you look at the Reds at 44 wins, and they have 2 more games with the Royals, and they have 4 more games with the Brewers before they wrap up the season. If they go the first half of the season, if they go 4-2 over their next 6 games, that would put the Reds at 48 games. So now you got to ask yourself, okay, do the Reds have 48 more wins left in them in the second half of the season? And I think that the one thing that the Reds have going for them is that they've actually been very steady from a starting pitching standpoint. They've actually been very steady from a hitting standpoint. What they have not been steady at is the bullpen. So if they address the bullpen at the trade deadline, I think you can continue to count on the starting rotation. I think you can continue to count on the lineup. What you can't count on is this bullpen, although they have been lights out over the past 10 days. So this article that comes out about the report that Trevor Story from the Rockies, that there are 4 teams interested in pursuing him come the trade deadline. You have the Angels, which makes sense. You look at the fact that the Angels right now, they're 42-42. They're 9.5 games back of their division, but they're looking to make a splash to try to come back in the wild card because they're only 6 games back in the wild card. The Angels with Shohei Ohtani right now, and they're hoping to get Mike Trout back after the All-Star break. Their pitching's been okay. I think that right now they're really looking to kind of beef up defensively and offensively. They have their run differential, they're minus 29. They want to be able to add some more explosiveness to that lineup. When you look at the fact that they have Ohtani playing the way he is, you get Mike Trout back, and then you add Trevor Story into the mix. I mean, the Angels would be very interesting, especially when you look at the teams ahead of them. Cleveland, I don't care. I have a hard time believing. I mean, they're 500 team. They're going to continue. I think that the Angels
9-game losing streak for the Cleveland baseball team.
Yeah, so they can continue to plummet. And I think that the Angels can surpass them. I think that the Angels can surpass the Yankees. The Blue Jays are an average team. I just think that when the Angels get healthy, that they're better than the Yankees right now because they seem to just be continuing to plummet. They're better than Cleveland. Seattle, I don't trust, but they're okay. But I just mean that they can get back into this. So it makes sense for the Angels to make some noise as far as that goes. Then you look at the White Sox. It's very evident right there is that's a division that, yes, they're going to probably win that division, Kev, but at the same time, just because you're going to win a division, it doesn't mean that you sit back and be lackadaisical, because now you don't make a trade to compete within your division that you most likely are going to win. You got to make a trade to attack the teams in the next part of the season that you're pursuing, and that's the playoffs. Right. The White Sox are talented, but you added Trevor Story. Not only does that solidify the division for you, it makes you even bigger contenders come October. And then you look at the Braves, and the Braves right now are a team that I think is one of the most underachieving teams in baseball in the first half of the season right now. They're 41-43, 2 games under 500. This was a team that was supposed to be one of the teams to look at heading in. They're third in the NL East. They're missing something. They need a little fire in them. Obviously, Trevor Story could do that. But the Cincinnati Reds are also on this list. You have the Angels, the Braves, and of course the White Sox, and you can add the Reds to this list as well. The Reds are 44-40. They're second in the division. They're 6 games back. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 5 straight. They're +3 in run differential. Although they've had hot bats from Jesse Winker and Nick Castellanos, and Joey Votto has been fantastic since coming back from the IL. Suarez had a great series against the Cubs. They're hoping he could build on that. You look at the offensive seasons that you're getting from Jonathan India and Tyler Stevenson. Tucker Barnhart is a very steady presence at the plate as well, not just behind the plate, but in the box. So I love the lineup for the Reds. I think that they get consistent enough production that mix that with the middle of the pack rotation. You can get that bullpen from the worst in baseball to the middle of the pack. This team's good enough to win this division, and they're good enough to maybe make a run in the playoffs, because now we're not competing for a wild card. This team's good enough to win the division at that point. You get a full 7-game series. You get some home games at Great American Ballpark, and the Reds have been fantastic at home, 23-20. They're also above 500 on the road. It's just a well-balanced team right now, even with the worst bullpen in baseball. So how does Trevor Story make them better? It makes them more effective offensively. They've scored 412 runs on the season. That's good for 4th in baseball. But their run differential is only +3 because that's how bad the bullpen and pitching has been. Okay. My thing is this. Everyone's like, go get them help. Go get the bullpen help. The bullpen's about to get Michael Lorenzen and TJ Antone back. And when you look at the way that Brock has pitched, and you look at the way Hembry has pitched, and you look at the consistency, Amir Garrett's kind of, returning back to form from what we've seen over the last couple of years and being, one of the biggest threats in that bullpen. They're naturally, and I made fun of the front office for saying this 2 weeks ago, but they're naturally going to get better. I mocked them then because at that time, Hembry and Brock were not pitching the way that they are right now. Now I'm kind of liking the bullpen. I think you can make a move or two to add a familiar, fresh face or two. But if you think adding 2 names at the deadline is going to make them the best bullpen in baseball, you're wrong. This bullpen's not going to get that much better. They're going to get naturally better by getting healthier, which I now agree with. I was wrong for doubting that. But at that time, Hembry and Brock were not pitching at the level of which they are now. So they are naturally going to get healthier, which in essence means they're naturally going to get better. You can add a name or two at the deadline, but that's not going to be the big difference maker. Trevor Story would push the Reds over the top. What would you have to give up to get him? I don't know. But when you look at the National League right now, the Mets are not the hottest team in baseball. They're hot. They're a hot team. I'm not afraid of the Mets. If you have the average bullpen and the rotation of the Reds, with the Reds lineup, they can compete with anybody in the National League. Yes, the Reds have been beat up by the Padres and the Dodgers and the Giants, but I will say that a lot of that was because of that bullpen. The Reds have the firepower offensively, and you add Trevor Story on top of it. You give the Reds Trevor Story, they can go at the Giants, the Dodgers, or the Padres in a 7-game series. I'm not saying they would be the favorite to win it, but with that pop that they have in that lineup and just an average bullpen versus the worst bullpen, it's not like the Giants, Dodgers, and Padres just blew the Reds out. They won a lot of those games, but the Reds were in those games. It was the bullpen that was the difference maker. Now, all of a sudden, it's a different matchup as you head into the playoffs. I really like this idea of the Reds going after Trevor Story. We've seen them be aggressive before, not knowing the outcome of who they're going to keep, Kev. We saw them go after Trevor Bauer. Mm-hmm. They knew there was a chance they weren't going to be able to re-sign him. They lost him. They gave up prospects to get him. It didn't work out the way they anticipated, but I respected the aggressiveness. I think the Reds need to be aggressive here. Go get a name or two for the bullpen, yes, that you don't have to give up a lot to get in return. but I think they need to go get Trevor Story. They could deal with the contract stuff later, but you get Trevor Story, you get Jesse Winker, you have Nick Castellanos. Moustakis could potentially be coming back on the second half of the season. If Suarez returns to form and Votto keeps hitting the way he is, Tyler Stevenson, Jonathan India, I'm rambling a lot. I'm excited for Reds baseball for the first time in a long time. They're making me believers again. 6 games back in the division. Balls to the wall, baby. Go get Trevor Story and make this a Story 2021 season. How about that?
How much do you think they have to give up?
Not as much as what you would think, mainly because of the fact that, well, the Rockies aren't going to re-sign him. That's the one reason they're looking to move him. Mm-hmm. He only has this year left on his contract. They would be responsible for, I believe, $8 million. I think they have about $10 million to give at the deadline that they can absorb. So, you know what I mean? Like, I think that it's something that makes sense. It would just have to be going all in. And I look at the Giants, Dodgers, and Padres. The Dodgers and Padres are supposed to be the 2 best teams in baseball. They are really, really good. They're flawed, though. They're flawed. So the Reds can go at them if they add Trevor Story and that bullpen continues at this pace. They can go at them, okay? The Mets, pretty good. Washington, okay. But the Reds can go at them. The Reds have dominated their division, even though they're 6 games back, but they've swept the Brewers, they've swept the Cubs, they've swept the Cardinals and Pirates. So forget the American League. There is a path to get to the NL Championship Series, and I think that the Reds have to be aggressive. The Reds have to be aggressive. I'm becoming what I hate, a damn homer. But I like the fight I've seen from the Reds. They're not backing down from the Brewers when they could have folded. They're not afraid of the Cubs when they come into town anymore. And you have 40,000 fans at GABP. Half of them are Cubs fans. The Reds didn't fold. They just said, okay, you want to fill up our stadium, our stadium with your fans? We'll kick your ass in front of your fans, and we'll move on. And then they take game 1 on the road, come from behind again, 5 straight, all come from behind wins. I'm excited. Reds fans, you should be excited too. Kevin, you should be depressed as hell that your team in Ohio is not as exciting as the other team in Ohio.
About 9 days ago, we were.
9 days ago, we weren't interesting. So there's that. But Trevor Story, come on, Reds, make it happen. Make it happen. What about your team? Are they? I mean, they're struggling now.
They're hurt.
But Clevenger, they moved on from Clevenger. Last year they moved on. But what are they going to do with Bieber and these guys? Are they looking to be married to these guys and build around them offensively in the offseason? What's the direction of Cleveland?
Well, with Bieber, he's hurt right now. He's scheduled to get back, I believe, after the All-Star break, and another starting pitcher is hurt. So they're built around pitching. Like, that's how the team wins, around pitching. So when you're down your best 2 pitchers, you're going to start struggling. You got dudes that should be playing high school baseball, to be perfectly honest, pitching for you. So you're not able to get guys out. You know, they lost to Tampa Bay last night, which they shouldn't have. They had that game in the bag, but they ended up blowing it later in the later innings and everything like that. As far as the Cleveland baseball team is concerned going forward, they're just going to play their hand. They're just going to play it out. They're not going to spend big money. I don't expect them to make any trades. If they were still hot like they were 9 days ago, you know, when they were on like a 6-game winning streak, like 2 games behind the White Sox for first place in the AL Central. If they didn't go into this 9-game spiral, if they were just playing 500 these last 9 games or whatever, I think they would be potential buyers, you know, for trades to get some more pop in that lineup. But right now, I think they're just going to stand pat, and hopefully the arms get better, the fingers get better, and everything like that. And they come back with the pitching staff and continue to play solid baseball the second half of the season. But it's all about getting those 2 main dogs in your bullpen. I mean, not in your bullpen, but your starting pitchers back.
The Reds are 44-40, second in the NL Central. They have Luis Castillo on the mound tonight at Kansas City. And this just came in. Good note here from Doug Toby. Appreciate him. He says the Reds need to win today. DeGrom is pitching against Milwaukee. So the Reds are 6 games back. But Doug is right. This is about, you know, like winning. When the teams in front of you are losing, it's important that you get wins it's important to get wins every day. But if the Brewers lose tonight and the Reds win, now you're 5 games back. And let's say you win tomorrow and the Brewers lose again, or the Brewers win tomorrow, you're to be 5 games back heading into this 4-game series with the Brewers, Kev. That would be huge. It would be huge. But no, seriously, like that would be huge for the Reds heading into a 4-game series to cut the deficit to at least 4 games, and maybe be 3 games back heading into the All-Star break when you were 9 games back last week. That it is huge as DeGrom and the Mets have the Brewers here tonight. But Luis Castillo on the mound for the Reds in Game 2 against the Royals. No show for us tomorrow due to the Reds and Royals wrapping up their 3-game series. It'll be a 2:10 first pitch. And, so we'll be bumped tomorrow. By the way, Dan Murphy, who we just had on the show last week, just tweeted this out about 40 minutes ago, that a wealthy Miami fan, this is what we talked about, a wealthy Miami fan has plans to raise money with the sole intent of getting it into the hands of Hurricane football players. So, Kev, this isn't even a endorsement. It's just raising money, giving it to the team.
Yeah, but they still have to do something for it.
They'll put it in some kind of contractual thing that they'll have you do something, but they may not have to do anything, right? Like, this is all about PR. So it's all above board under the state law, and it provides what could be the new blueprint for attracting talent during the name, image, and likeness era. The best that money can buy?
Talent.
I mean, my goodness. Marty Bannister, he just tweeted this out. He goes, soon, the phrase, the best that money can buy, will not be a derogatory statement. So there's that. So, all right, folks, we'll step away for a few moments. But, real quick, and of course I lost it. The article refreshed. $540,000 he's given to the program. $500,000. I think he's been kind of cheap, to be honest with you.
Man, imagine giving that to...
He's a gym owner. He owns a couple MMA gyms, a chain of MMA gyms. How many Conor freaking McGregors you have fighting there? My goodness.
Do you love Ohio State football enough to give $500,000?
There's a lot of things I would do if I had $500,000. I don't think giving it away would be one of my options. Just
I would give it away, but it wouldn't be to Ohio State football. It would be to other things, but, to each his own.
We'll be back. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 92. Tonight will be mainly clear, a low around 73. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high near 92. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces at your home, office, or commercial property. Introducing infrared patching, a new technology for your property. This service and more at culletsealcoating.com.
For the ones who get going when the going gets tough, and the ones who know we're tougher together. For the Pathfinders breaking new ground, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as fast access to experts and 24/7 customer support. Because we know you have people depending on you, so you can always depend on us. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
I love my Charmin Super Mega Golden Rose, yeah. Gold last long, it's TP Gold, yeah. Charmin's got 6 rows in one, lasts forever on my buns. Only Super Mega when I'm cleaning. Charmin's got my booty believing.
Charmin Super Mega Roll is 6 regular rolls in one. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Napa Know How.
Get 20% off 3 or more items with the $2.99 Napa Bucket. Yep, save on wipers, headlights, brake pads, motor oil. Wait, how long is this list? Wow, floor mats, boat batteries, towing parts. I'm not sure we have time to read all this. Let's just say save 20% on a lot. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa Know How.
Napa Know How.
At participating locations, exclusions apply. May not be combined with other offers. Offer ends 7/31/21.
So, how can I promote my new curbside pickup service?
It's possible with Staples Connect.
I need custom floor decals that'll get noticed, not just walked on.
Also possible. Staples Connect can help your business grow with custom printed sales and marketing materials. Now get $20 off signs, banners, or posters when you spend $75 or more. Explore what's new at your local Staples. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. N731 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/signage for details.
You took an antacid, and now your frequent heartburn's back. Stop heartburn before it begins with Prilosec OTC. Its unique delayed-release formula blocks heartburn at the source for 24 hours, so you can extinguish heartburn before it starts. Make the switch to Prilosec OTC today and live heartburn-free. Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Credit Karma has always been there to help you make better financial decisions, and now they want to help even more. Credit Karma Money is a brand new checking account where you can win cash reimbursements for debit purchases. And when you make a purchase between July 1st and July 23rd, you'll be automatically entered to win $1 million. Go to creditkarma.com/winmoney. That's creditkarma.com/winmoney. Instant Karma is sponsored by Credit Karma. No purchase necessary. Exclusions and terms apply. See rules. Banking services provided by MVB Bank, Inc. Member FDIC. Maximum balance and transfer limits apply.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Companies. Last year, we saw historically low mortgage interest rates. What you may not know is that interest rates are already starting to increase, and it's likely that trend is only going to continue. Our team of experts is standing by to help you save before rates go up. Don't look back and wish that you had taken action. Call 833-8ROCKET or visit rocketmortgage.com.
Rocket. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Buying a car on the internet, this is for you.
Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. If you're buying a car online, here are a few easy steps to keep yourself safe. Just remember CAR. C, contact the seller to confirm their identity. A, assignment, a title free and clear of liens and properly assigned. R, research. Find a way to pay for the car by using a secure method where you can dispute the charge in case of fraud. Call us at 225-4480.
Brought to you by Montgomery County Clerk of Courts, Mike Foley.
At CDW, we get the people who need to sign here aren't always here.
Tell me about it. I'm always chasing down signatures. I go through pens and shoes like chewing gum.
Sounds like you need Adobe Sign orchestrated by CDW to securely automate e-signatures and workflows across devices from anywhere. Integrating with existing tools, Sign can save your organization time, money, and miles.
Thank goodness. I can finally take these shoes off.
No. Back on. IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Find out more at cdw.com/Adobe Sign.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
Whether it's next day delivery or getting involved in their local communities, Napa goes above and beyond to serve you because their motor never quits. That's Napa know-how.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Weekdays at 3 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio. Kev Nash brings you over, under.
All right, Kev, kick us off. Over, under. We are getting things started, I think, yes, in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Is that correct?
Yes, Nathan's hot dog eating contest went down on the 4th of July.
It literally went down. Like, the feed went down. You could, no pun intended, you couldn't even watch it. ESPN's feed went out.
Maybe that's not a bad thing. With Joey Chestnut's winning again, he ate a record 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes. So, over or under 15 hot dogs Kenner could eat in 10 minutes.
That's great. First of all, under. And I think this